All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I guess we'll start out with that. If you can see and hear me, let me know down in the comments. If you don't like seeing me, that's a different situation altogether. So, but hopefully the audio is working, and do have a guest we'll throw in the mix with us tonight as well. Hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday evening. Wait to see if my mic's working. Oh, Mr. Seebeck. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you. Casey Dolph. Low Ballin. What's up, brother? Jeffrey Pelletier. Hope that's how you say it. Let's see. Audio any good? Not at all. What's up, big country? Nate Zoinks. Should come up to Maine and do a long gong match with us. It's a 300 match, 8-6. Nice. Yeah, that's a long drive. All good. Good to know. All right, I'm going to bring in Mr. Chris from Midwest Long Range. I'm going to add him in the mix. Let's see.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a lot of ugly for one frame of StreamYard, but they get to enjoy this for the next little while. All right. So tonight, oh man, I got all sorts of stuff.
You're intruding on my dinner time, so.
Right. Well, I can always kick you again. Tonight, I got some magazines. 1, 2, 3. We're going to talk a little bit about magazines. We're going to talk a lot bit about CZ457s. Going to talk a little bit about this guy. Different kind of magazine, different bullets, as Hootie Hoo would say. Precision stuff. We're going to talk about Kestrel stuff, BCs, truing, and then whatever else you guys want to know about. And then if you want to know anything about how crappy the pizza is in Missouri, Chris will be here to answer that.
I was going to say that's about the only useful information I'm going to bring to this party.
Well, and the comic relief. So if he's not funny enough in the first 30 minutes, we'll just boot him.
Hey.
Yeah.
Everybody says our videos were better when we did them together.
Apparently, there's another YouTuber somewhere doing another live stream because there's 2 top dogs in rimfire and YouTube in one place, and I know it's not us.
Apparently, they haven't seen how long it's been since I released a video.
Right. We got Light 'em Up Outdoors. We got a bunch of people here. Chris Beck is here in the house.
Hey.
Matt Williams, Low Ball and Outdoors. My subsequent Ginger, Red Rooster. He's around, floating around.
The Rooster? I can't see
Rooster.
the comment, so I'm relying on you.
Yeah. So far, they're pretty tame. But, yeah, we got a good crowd in here. Austin says Missouri pizza is better than Chicago pizza. Oh, and he gone. He ate through his power cord at the same time as his pizza, apparently. I'm sure he'll come back, so we'll figure that out. But, yeah, anyway, dropping crap already. Got a couple of videos coming out. I did have a chance to test the L3I magazine versus a standard, and the one I just dropped on the ground is the NDR shooting mag. Let me grab that. There we go. So yeah, the NDR. So 15 rounds, 13 rounds, but plastic. I tested all of these, and actually really good results. I did it on video. They all work really well. There is a few intricacies. The NDR shooting is 15 rounds. It doesn't work in an ACC, and it doesn't work with an extended magazine release that I've tried. Whereas the L3I is 13 rounds and works with all the above. So those have been good. I, of course, have been running the L3I 700 mags. I got a couple more of these as well, set them up for the Voodoo. But CZ stuff is on fire. It is alive and kicking because we got new barrels. same chassis, but then we've got all these magazine options and just a lot of things that are really going to make CZ 457s kind of hard to beat. And if you look up there, no YouTube, I'm not touching. Oh, hold on, I'm reversed. I'm not touching it, but that is a CZ 457. Yeah, Chris dropped off. I have no idea. Missouri internet or something. I think he might have ate through his camera cord while he was eating his pizza. Hey, appreciate you, Nate. Nate Zoink says, nice wall. Yep. I like it. My wife's not a big fan. We got Ryan Drink from Kansas. What's up, man? Been out to Kansas one time to play with Darren DeBoer at the Athlon ELR match. It was a lot of fun. Pretty cool spot. Let's see. The newest L3i Bergara mags are better than Gen 2. Really? Is it a Bergara specific magazine, or are we talking the Gen 2, these guys, or the new Bergaras are better than these? I use them in my Bergara as well, but I use kind of the first edition, Gen 1s of L3Is in there. So not these Gen 2s I use in the Voodoo, pretty much just in the Voodoo. So let's see. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Let me go double check here. New Garmin chrono. Nope. I'm still rocking the FX. I'm going to get the Garmin. And, you know, we'll talk about it, of course. I know a few people have them. It looks great. I mean, Garmin makes good stuff. The FX, I'm just not sure how well the Garmin's going to do BC. I actually just shot a video today with the FX. They've released some firmware. We're not all the way there. Oh, looks like we're going to add Chris back. There he is. He back.
Yeah, had a battery fail.
Oh, I kind of told everybody you ate through your camera cord.
I heard. I got to watch all of it take place.
Oh, nice.
You know, all the crap talking, and I also got to hear that some people were genuinely disappointed that I left. You know, because staring at you, I mean.
Well, I don't think it was disappointment. I think it was like a shock. Like you win the lottery and you're like, did I win? Like you're not mad. You just want to be sure.
Oh, I see.
Do you have any experience with the Ruger rimfire mags, which seem to have the least issue? Ruger rimfire mags are just, that's like the 1022
awful
mags, right? Yeah.
I mean, I've had tons of 1022s and Ruger Precisions and Americans. And if a gun takes Ruger rimfire mags, I'm not going to buy it.
Right. So I'm a little less, I used to really hate on them. I'm a little less hating on them now that I did that video where I tested like the purposely damaging bullets. And I mean, at distance, no matter what, it's not going to be good at distance, but 50 yards, like I was surprised what you could do to a 22 bullet and really not see much. I mean, I had to pretty much nip the tip off or smash it with a hammer to really get it to really throw a flyer.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the other side of that where like I'm not gonna experience that anymore.
Right. There's better options.
Well, I know a friend of mine, well, you know him, Bobby.
Right.
You know, we had multiple Ruger. We had a precision rimfire, a 1022, and an American target, all in the shop at the same time. None of it was on camera, but he and I went through them, and from the 15 round extended mags to the 10 round mags, we saw a improvement in accuracy on just shooting the 10 rounders versus those others. I don't know if it just they didn't fit the guns well, but it was repeatable in all three firearms. So
wow, that's weird. Yeah, there's no telling. Can you, when I put these up, can you see that comment that I got up now? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going. I didn't know if Chris was.
No, I got too much going on, work and everything else. Hence why I've been absent from YouTube.
Right. Of course, Beck's going. Beck's winning all the matches. I don't know if he's been looking at practice score, but Beck is freaking on fire.
I looked at some stuff here a little while back. I don't think I've ever met Chris in person, but I see his name pop up on the leaderboards
Right.
a lot.
He's I would say he's a lot like you in as far as temperament and stuff like that. Like he's easy to shoot with. He's like he's pretty positive guy. Like I don't know, he's a good shooter and he doesn't get riled up. Sometimes you got them guys that are good shooters and they're kind of hard to shoot with when they're not shooting their best because they kind of like just go nuts. And not I see you. You think it's worse than you.
I mean, I've shot with you before. I know how that feels.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I've tried to tame it down. Here's a good one. Do I still use the CZ? So no, Kenny made me that rifle. I ultimately moved that rifle on. It was a good rifle. My buddy Len has one, a DPG CZ 457. I have to, and Chris knows this deal. I have to try like everything, or I want to try everything. So I've owned like 3 Voodoos, 3 Remexes. I have like 2 custom CZ 457s, but it wasn't anything to do with a gun. It was just kind of cycling through because how can I talk about, all the options if I haven't had them? So I don't use it anymore. The one I'll talk about a little later is the one above me with the giant barrel on it and what's going on with that. But the rooster says, will he fit?
Will he fit?
I think when I was bringing you back on, the comments are delayed. And this back to the mags. Yeah, so these are the ultimates. They have the aluminum. I just call them the Gen 2s. But yeah, these are they're not 3D printed. What are they, Chris? You'll know.
Those are injection molded, if I remember what Leon told me correctly.
That's it. So as far as quality wise, they're better. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to take the leap from the 3D printed to the injection molded, I mean, I work in an industry where I see a lot of that where we'll prototype in 3D printing and then we may pay to have injection molded done. But for L3I to make that kind of investment, I mean, that shows some want to stay in it for the long term.
Right. Yeah. And the quality difference is nuts. And Chris has seen both. I mean, they're smoother on the inside and it's like to me, when you 3D printed versus injection molding like that, it's like, I think the injection stuff's got to be 10 times as strong. I mean,
yeah, I mean, this is the new one here. Everything's backwards, but that's what I run in the Voodoo and in the Curtis, which right behind me somewhere. God, I'm going the wrong way. There it is.
Yeah, it's hard to get it right. Make your wife very happy. Let me buy a Voodoo from you. Yeah, it would take more than that. I don't think she'd be real. She'd still have the issue with the rest of it. But yeah, the Voodoo's got to stay. It's got a Krieger on it now, and it balances like a dream. Here's that back to the 1022. My Ruger Precision rimfire issues feeding the first round until I got a Shaw barrel bullet in backwards and still feed. Yeah, that's, I think, maybe stacking of tolerances at play there. Factory barrel, factory mags.
Well, I know we got at least a couple machinists on there that can explain some of that in the comments if they deem so necessary. But it's that is one thing I haven't got to test is a pre-fit barrel on the Ruger Precision. We went as far as we could go with the gun, and I thought we were going to do some other stuff, but it just didn't happen. But not to just jump all over a platform, but to me, the Ruger Precision rimfire is like the biggest oxymoron. And I know I'm going to alienate some people, but I have the gun. I've owned it for like 2.5, 3 years. So I feel confident in talking about this. But the way your fore-end attaches to a barrel nut that is then seated into the chassis, but you can put the fore-end out on a bag and you're tweaking things. It just, for a system that you need to be locked down and rigid, it's just, there's so much that could go wrong there. And anybody who builds precision instruments of any type would look at it and go, yeah, probably not the right system.
Yeah, I think it's marketed to hit, like, it gives you a lot of feet. It gives you a lot of 50 percentiles. You know what I mean? Like, It gives you adjustability, but it's not that great. It's not that rigid. It gives you like adjustable length of pull, cheek riser. It gives you that tactical look.
That's why I bought it. Right, I bought it for the kid, but
I mean, it's a
I have a
marketing
message
thing, but
for them. They can do better.
I mean, well, and there's still a big part of the market and manufacturers who don't take 22 long rifles seriously, and I think that's like a perfect example. But,
and coming from Ruger, it just you would think better. But anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Theos versus the Gen 3.
I know so I have a limited time behind a Gen 3, like a limited, because I only wanted to touch it long enough to not break the turrets, which is not very long as far as I'm concerned. The Gen 3 is a heck of a scope. They got a good, everybody's got the same good warranty. I would say the Theos glass is the same. It's good. It's as good as the Gen 3. I think the turrets, if they're not breaking, are a little nicer on the Gen 3, but you get a lot of cool things with the Theos. You're getting the toolless, ReZero, like all their stuff's toolless, which is pretty cool. And then, they kind of like spearheaded this aperture ring thing, and it works. It's not a gimmick. It's something I use all the time now. I would have never thought about it, but so I spent more time on the Theos than the Gen 3. I don't like the Gen 3 because almost everybody I know has a Gen 3 Razor has had to send theirs back at like 90% of them to get the turrets fixed. And once they come back, they're good. But, if that happens at a match, not worth it to me.
What's that old saying about if you show up at the gun range and the guy who's shooting the Vortex scope, ask every Vortex shooter if they've got Vortex's warranty number in their phone.
Right.
Almost all of them do.
Right.
My deal is like if I buy a scope for that much money, I don't ever want to talk to their warranty department ever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Try and catch back up. If they're going to raise their base price for rifle, last year it was I don't think they're going to push it up again. 1,500 is kind of as far as I see that going for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, that number gets harder and harder to hit every year.
Right. I hope so. I'm 15 over. Yeah. I honestly don't. So don't take this the wrong way if you shoot in this, because I was in the same boat and I had a friend who threw me out of production, right? So I was shooting PRS and I shot my last match in a production class, and he wouldn't score me as production. He made me go into open because he was just like, dude, you're just going to hang out and try and beat up on production guys, and you need to go to open. And it's the best thing I ever did. I kind of think they need to take away production division and take away the price point of it and limit it to somebody's first season. If you've shot NRL or if you've never shot NRL or PRS and it's your first season, then you're in production, let's rename it to something else that's more, apt, because I think it should be about you and not the gun. Because there's guys you can hand a $1,500 gun to that will destroy guys in their first year with a $10,000 gun. So I really think they just need to make introductory class.
Well, that's what's the young kid's name? Oh God, I just saw some posts with him. Yeah, Zane Herman. There you go.
Right.
Come on. I mean, he's shooting a Tika. He blows through everybody at nationals. I mean, it just goes to show it's not. You could spend all the money like you or I have. I mean, and put yourself near bankruptcy and still not shoot as good as he does with a Tika.
Right. Right.
So
this has a little bit to do, and more on the CZ later, but pre-fit, having a barrel spun up custom is always going to be better, right? But if you have a good gunsmith making a pre-fit, like a really good gunsmith who does a really good job, then the pre-fits can compete. It depends on the action too. When we're talking about, you can't do pre-fits on a Voodoo because they're plus or minus 10 thou sometimes on headspace and things like that. But a Rimex, even the CZs, that up there, the video's not out. I got permission to talk about it tonight. That is a pre-fit. It's a 1.18 inch Muller Works, 1/16, 8 groove, 24-inch barrel. That's a pre-fit. It wasn't custom made for that gun. And that CZ will freaking hammer. It's one of the most accurate guns on this wall right now, and it's a pre-fit. And I field tested a second pre-fit for somebody else who I used to make the demo video on how to do the bolt shims and stuff, and their gun outshoots that gun pre-fit. So it depends. I mean, but always custom is always better. You know, if you can get a custom job, you can eliminate some variables. If you're doing like production pre-fits from somebody is probably not that good. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. My Lil just shoots pretty good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so the other gun over there, that's a Lilja. I mean, they're pre-fits and they're good. But yeah, I think
it also determines on people really need to understand, you know, that kind of that point of diminishing returns, right? Where once you get to a certain point, you need to focus on yourself as a shooter more so than you do the equipment. We've all fell down that same old rabbit hole, right? Where you'd think, you know, maybe this barrel is going to put me over the edge, or maybe that is. In reality, you probably need to take a class.
Right? Yeah. Or buy some more ammo, or
do some.
We all like to play, though.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, I don't disagree that a hand turned, you know, barrel specific to the action is going to be the most accurate option. But pre-fits are gaining so quick. So quick.
Yeah. And where you can headspace them yourselves. So Liljas, you headspace with a shim on the barrel. These new barrels that we'll talk about later, they're shimmed by the bolt, which has seemed to take off a little bit more too. Bolt shimming, because you want the shoulder of the barrel against the shoulder of the receiver. That's kind of like ideal. You don't necessarily want to put shims there. If you could shim the bolt and have that bolt square up against the receiver, which I'm not sure it matters, but it seems to be the trend. People are bolt shimming more often than not. But yeah, I mean,
I'm curious about this bench rest question you got up here, because that's something I'm looking into. Like,
me too.
For an action, maybe.
Right. Yeah, I want to do it. Problem is, every time I look at my bank account, there's a bunch of zeros and they're on the wrong side of the decimal. So that's preventing. I will get one. I would like to do a voodoo single shot or a turbo.
Man, I don't know whether I want to do a voodoo or a turbo or maybe a stiller, right?
Right.
You know, there's a lot of options out there, and it's a world that I have never played in. So my knowledge is very limited when it comes to the rimfire bench rest
Let's
stuff.
catch up on. I'm coming in close because we're gonna do rapid fire questions, Chris, and I'm gonna let Chris take over. All right, ready, set, go. TikTok.
Savage Mark II, is it worth it? From a Boyd's at one stock to a chassis. I hate the Boyd's at one stock. Sorry, Boyd's, but it's great if you're plinking. But if you're trying to do precision rimfire, I think you need to make the move to the chassis. It's going to be way more rigid, and you're going to be on target better.
All right.
Just
let's see.
I like my Savage Mark II, and it's in a chassis.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you really love the Savage and your Mark II is a shooter, then sure, why not? If it's not really that great, I don't think putting in a chassis is going to make it night and day difference. But your mileage may vary. Where's the next one?
Functionality on the at-1.
Right, yeah, I hate the at-1. What length courier did you get to get balanced? Monocam's getting ready to do my voodoo. Almost all my barrels now are 24 inches. I'll zoom back out real quick. Almost all those are 24 to 25 inches. And 24 inches, I think, is what the Krieger finished at. And it balances really, really well for me. Here's one for you.
Uh-oh.
That's not really a question.
About the difference in parallax?
That's from your buddy Rooster.
Oh. I'm trying to remember what it is he's talking about, but I did I kind of lit up a Vortex rep at Precision Rifle Expo last year. I didn't make it this year, and it was
Right.
over the turrets because like he had like 2 or 3. Oh God, there's Tom. But he had 2 or 3 of those Gen 3s sitting on the table. I'd grab one, spin the turret, grab the next one, and it would feel like utter crap compared to the first one. And I'd hold them out and I'd say, why don't they match? But
he was talking to Matt on that. Yeah. Tom's talking junk to somebody else in here.
Oh.
Yeah, here's a guy.
Tom's always talking junk to me at some point.
Yeah. After seeing the element aperturing, I did one out of a piece of plastic and it works. Yep. I mean, anything will work. I was telling somebody else, I think he's in the chat actually, Brad. If you're like me and you've got a ton of scope covers that you never use, just take one. If it's 56 mil, outline a 50 mil objective, cut it out, slip it on, and you have an aperture ring. Let's see. People that put a Zico on a rimfire have tiny grooves. I'm not going to knock the Zico. Zicos are freaking nice.
You know, I can't say much. I mean, I've got a Night Force that I used to run on one. That's technically still on.
Production class is just for dudes that want a participation trophy. I think Tom's extra salty tonight. I don't know that it's just for a trophy, but there are a lot of people who want to be competitive with other first years. And that's why I think it needs to change to your first season. And then you can elect to come out of it. But I don't think as a seasoned competitor, you should be able to go in a production class. But yeah.
I feel like Tom's trying to get me going. He knows I got some pretty stiff feelings about prize tables and the prize table hunters and all that kind of stuff.
Well, let's avoid that one and go to this Monocam, then the other people. Yeah,
stuff on my channel.
Right. And Matt, we got more arguing. DI, Monocam, TPG. That's it. This is like asking.
I got a DPG right there.
Right. It's like asking, and I'm not going to talk junk about anybody. No, I'm not even going to say it. So it's your preference. You like who you like. Yeah, I mean, all these guys are making good rifles. They're all doing something a little different. To say one is better than the other.
I've seen all 3 rifles on podiums. I mean, they're all operating within extremely low tolerances. I know some of them are in CNC. Some of them are in still doing manual stuff. But I mean, Phil's got a DI. I've shot against multiple Monocam builds. A friend of ours has a DI Voodoo with a Muller Works, and then I've got a couple of DPG guns. Obviously, everybody knows I do. It's no secret. The Curtis over here over my shoulder. It's got a Muller Works 8 groove minimal invasive on it, but it's also switch lugged. And the old Voodoo that I've shot forever. I mean, I think it was one of the first 2 or 3 Voodoos that Kenny ever did, but it kind of go different chambers, different stuff. I mean, it really depends on what you're doing and what your expectation is, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's easy. Monocam's in my backyard. I personally know him. And I've hung out with him a bunch. What's that?
I don't have anybody in my backyard. I got to ship my stuff all over the place.
Right. So I personally know him, and we test a lot of stuff together. So that's what's cool is he's not super close. There he went again. His battery probably died. But I go over there and test stuff, and he's a really great guy. Jonathan is. There are plenty of good gunsmiths out and about, though. So everybody's going to have their favorite. Moving on. Any experience with a CZ4 pulse? No, I haven't used one of those. I have factory extractor ejectors in all my CZs, and they work fine. So I've never tried the Valcourts and stuff. Have a Monocam prefit on my Rimex, shot everything I fed in one hole. Yeah, I did an Instagram post. If you guys don't follow me, I went over there and tested like 8 barrels, and we did like 6 of the 8 were Rimex prefits, and I literally fouled it with 5 shots through some crap center X that I have. It's a lot that doesn't shoot good in anything, so we use its foulers. Then shot 6 through 10. I literally put into 0.1 groups across every single barrel that day, and those were pre-fits. So, and I was putting the barrel to the action, putting it in the stock, putting on the scope, and test firing it. And I mean, they were hammering. I mean, it was nuts. If Chris ever gets back on, we'll jump back to this. Curtis Custom Customer Service. I personally don't. I've heard a lot of people say some things about their customers. I've never had to deal with it. Chris has dealt with them. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's other things going on there, but I'm not sure Chris would know. Couldn't find a barrel blank, so I rolled the dice with a Proof Steel pre-fit and happy. Yeah, I mean, Proof makes some really good barrels. Proof's another really great company. Muller Works, Krieger, a lot of great. There's so much good stuff for 22 long rifle. It is nuts. I love my Tikka Center. Can't seem to get my T1. Yeah, I've shot like 8 T1Xs. 7 and 8 were great because they weren't mine. I bought the one that's, where is it? There it is. It's that guy. And if you saw the video, the barrel's not that great. Just don't shoot that great. But it is what it is. Have you heard of the new game for 22 long rifle bench rest called Long Gone? Yeah, somebody mentioned that up here. I would like to get into that. Super hard to find long places to shoot here, but I would like to get into it for sure. Tom Wyman for don't stroke his ego. Look, see, it's too late. Don't do that, David. He doesn't need any encouragement. He needs zero encouragement. Trust me. Mr. Tree Feller, what's up, brother? I'm actually going right behind. Oh, that's the wrong way. Right behind me, I got an Australian chassis, and I'm going to mess up the pronunciation. I call it Maniel. That's probably not it. It's probably Manuel, but it's a Sedejo chassis. That's probably pronounced wrong too. Australian chassis, running it in the 223. Going to play and film with it tomorrow if I get any sort of decent weather. Enough to shoot 223 anyway. Let's see. What is your favorite chassis? Ooh, that's tough. The XLR, let me get out of the way. The NV Pro there, that thing is freaking money. I still really like the ACCs. The Wuxes are nice. It really depends. Workhorse, beat the crap out of it, 700. Probably going to go XLR, NV Pro. All around, like CZ included. ACC, because that's like the best chassis you can get for a CZ. And then, if you're trying to kill them with the good looks department and have some functionality, then the Wux. But yeah, they're all good. But they all have their benefits and drawbacks in certain aspects. Let's see. What is that? There we go. Hey, back. What are you doing over there?
Fighting batteries, man.
Jeez Louise.
I put some on the charger. So.
Now we get it's a little easier to look at you now. Let me see. Let me go back to this one. You missed this one. You have 100% more.
Something about a Curtis build.
Yeah, well, that's the question. Yeah, I don't have any experience with Curtis at all. So.
Oh yeah, that's that is a hot button topic. If I ever saw one, you're throwing me under the bus on this one.
Let me throw her on reverse.
I'm not gonna lie to anybody. They are hard to get a hold of, and it can be tough some days. Chase is a good guy. I've dealt with him. He's always super cordial and polite to me on the phone. When I can get him on the phone. So, that's probably the nicest way I can say that. I have a lot of Curtis guns, Curtis builds. I like their product a lot. There's some other guys on here I know have some, but sometimes if you purchase something from them, just forget that you ordered it till it shows up. I don't know what else to tell you.
I'm going to save you from this. How about a kid?
Please do. I need that.
So the Kid 20 inch is probably one of the best barrels I've ever tried. Actually, and the best ammo combination I ever had was Chris's SK long range match that I stole out of his room when I recorded that video. And it shot like 0.1, like 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. It was dumb. But of course, it was Chris's limited supply of ammunition. So it's not like I could, hold him at gunpoint, make him buy more of the lot and then take it home with me.
Well, and you're also leaving out something that I don't know that a lot of these folks even know is I don't buy a case or something like that at a time. I buy two or three bricks, maybe.
Yeah.
And I limp through. I spend too much money on the guns. I don't buy enough ammo.
Right.
So,
the ammo's the hard thing because the guns sit here on the wall. They're here. The ammo, you buy it knowing that it's gonna be gone, and it's a lot of money.
Well, and maybe I'm gonna get up on a soapbox a little bit.
Here, get up on the soapbox for this question. Go ahead though. I don't want to discourage you from your ammo.
Well, no, that's an easy question to answer. Whatever. I mean,
right.
Saying, but man, with the way 22 ammo, what it costs now, it's just absurd. It's like,
yeah.
And I've had a lot because I don't think I've made a video in a couple months, 2 or 3 months, something like that.
Right.
Probably, honestly, I filmed the last one way before I actually released it. But anyway, I had personal stuff going on, but then just the cost of it. I don't know I don't know what everybody thinks, but it's like, good God, I got to go buy all this ammo. Any kind of ad revenue the video generates doesn't cover it.
No, not even close.
If somebody genuinely saw how far in the hole that these channels put us, it was like, here's my soapbox. It's like, I can't afford to buy all the stuff that everybody wants to see me test.
Right.
So it's like, I've had so many comments. Well, test this. Man, if somebody call a supplier or get them to send me a box, I would. But it's when you're talking, what is super long range now? $20-something a box, 27.
Yeah, that's pretty up there.
I mean, I'm hanging out down here shooting, SK long range or something comparable. Trying to stay in that $10 to $15 a box territory. But it's getting harder. It's getting harder.
Yeah. I've been testing a lot of team lately. I've been shooting I got a couple bricks of team, did some testing with it. Match is about as high as I go. I mean, so Ely match, Lapua Center X, and RWS special match. That's as much money now as I'm going to spend.
I've got one lonely brick of RWS R50 sitting in my bag.
Well, that stuff hammered for you, so.
Out of the voodoo, it does.
Oh, here's a good one for people who are watching. Give me your top 5 in order of accuracy precedence of ammunition without thinking about it too much. Start at the bottom start at the top and go down. Best ammunition you've used. Yeah. Just for the people who may not have.
Yeah, number 1's R50. Number 2 for me is going to be long range match. Number 3 is rifle match. Number 4 is Center X. I have mixed emotions about Center X. And then my number 5 probably be Ely match.
Right.
I have a hard time sourcing Ely other than through the internet.
Yeah, that's about the
where
only
I
place.
live. We can get Lapua. So
yeah, I would have
Center
2
X
different
for me
lists.
is like, it doesn't perform as good as what you're what you think it would for what you're paying for it.
Right.
I've seen stuff very comparable out of rifle match, but maybe those were older lots.
Right. I guess for me, strictly for PRS shooting, it would be R50 because it has the lowest SDs and ESs of any ammunition I've ever seen on the market, period.
Yeah.
I haven't tested R100, but R50 SD of 2s, super, super common with a good lot that matches your gun. So for me, it would be R50, Ely match, Ely team. Then it would probably be SK long range match, and then it would probably be Lapua Center X rounding out the list. That would be for me.
I tell you, like an honorable mention too would be Standard Plus.
Yeah,
I've seen that
I got
stuff
some.
really hammer, man.
I've got 3 bricks. Shoot great at 50, but man, I do not shoot that crap past 100. That's why it's not on my list. Because man, I've had stuff that shot 0.3 at 50, and that crap shoots 1.5 inches at 100. At 150, you're a minute of freaking somebody's trailer. Like, I mean,
I've seen some guys with some guns, and they just, it's like, holy crap! Like, why would you ever buy anything else?
right. So I don't have this experience, DK, but through gunsmiths that I know and I've talked to, a lot of gunsmiths don't like doing this, especially certain diameters, especially for rimfire half after the barrel's cut, because you're inducing heat and you're working with something that's already been worked. And most of them guys, I think, would say avoid that, especially if you're looking at a really precision setup.
I figure the rooster would have been all over this comment. I know usually there's fear of like the bore, the muzzle opening up a little bit as
Right.
you relieve the stresses and stuff like that. Now on like hunting guns, it's pretty common because you may have minimal accuracy,
Right.
minimum loss of accuracy, but it may be worth it to get all that recoil off of you to make that shot or something.
Right.
But
yeah, and it probably depends.
I wouldn't do it.
Right. Depends on the barrel too. Like Muller Works barrel, I don't think you definitely wouldn't want to do it because you're looking at something that's choked at the end of the barrel, right? So like when they ship the blank, the basically the crown end needs to stay where it is. Like that's it. And then you work on the chamber end. So I definitely wouldn't want to mess with the Muller Works.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was last year I shot my first year in production, moving to open this year. Soon as don't want to be winning over some kids the first time I do well. Well, the big thing is too is get an open, free yourself up to grow your equipment, and then work on you and see where you're really at. Because it's easy to be a production shooter who's a good shooter and blame. They say you're 80% of the winner and be like, well, I'm shooting a production gun. That's why I'm 80%. Like, take that out of the equation. Shooting the same rule set as the big dogs and see where you're at. It'll help you grow. If you're looking, and that's to Chris's point earlier, if you're looking to collect a trophy or a prize off a prize table, then hey, do what you want to do. Like, there's a different thing. If you're looking to grow as a shooter, get an open, unrestrict yourself, see where you fall, and then, work on that. Like if you want to get better, I think you need to be an open. Outside of your, if you're a first year shooter production, like that's probably a good place to be. Let's see, Tom Wyman. I think he's drunk. Says Chris is better looking.
He likes the full beard, not that.
Yeah.
Not that little
well, I got to cut mine off every month. This is 2.5 weeks. I got to cut it off this weekend coming up. It's like,
I've looked like this since the 6th grade, homie.
Right. Well, he's going to tell you he was 21 when he graduated 6th grade, Missouri people.
Oh, I see how it is. That's rough. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's see.
We won't talk about all your stuff.
He said, thank God I started in 3-gun because now my wife thinks I'm saving money. That's right.
Yeah, you say that till you have like a backup gun for your backup gun for your backup gun.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The money you spend on the sport is incredible. Do you think you guys have a gun? No, I don't have a gun addiction. I have a money problem.
Yeah. I have a solution for any of those addiction issues, right. But somebody wants to go talk to my employer and get me some more money. That would help.
Where do you find good ammo? That's easy. Champion's Choice, Good Shooting Inc., Kilo Shooting Sports if you're looking for Ely, and then Google is your best friend. A lot of mom and pop shops will have some Lapua, some SK. Blue Collar Reloading, they have SK. When it's in, it's reasonable. I think they have Standard Plus right now for like $7 a box, but they carry SK stuff. So those places for me.
I'm really fortunate on that one to have some local shops Midwest Gun and Pawn, Doc Holidays, stuff like that. I don't have to internet shop for it very much.
Right. Normally going to be importing more RWS tiers of ammo for a better price. That'd be cool. More ammo is always better.
That's cool.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that either. Here's some other people on their list: super long range match, red box, yellow. I'm gonna hate on them for a minute now because why not? It's my live stream. I can hate on them. So the long range and the super. Let me get up close so you know I'm not BSing you. I'm gonna get you the close up. I'm just gonna say this. I think the long range and the super long range is a pile of marketing crap. And the reason I say that is it's the same bullet, right? It is, yeah, it's center X and Midas plus. Add 0.2 of a grain of powder. Right. So the bullet's the same. So there's no BC advantage. What they've done is they've sped it up. My problem with that is that speeding up a low BC round like a 22 is not helping you. Yeah, maybe there are people, maybe even you are one of them, that you shot the long range or the super long range. You were like, man, this hammered in my gun. Likely your gun likes faster ammunition. That's fine. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Like the faster you speed up a 22 bullet, the more wind drift and the more wind steerable it becomes. So to call something super long range and long range and do something that adversely, oh, he gone again. He probably couldn't take the Lapua talk. But to speed it up and do something that is going to increase more wind steerability for long range doesn't make sense to me. That's why I call it marketing crap. Maybe there's something I'm missing out of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to make your own decision about ammo. But I will say, to me, super long range and long range is just another marketing kind of thing. And it is not going to be better at long range. It's simply faster. Faster doesn't do anything for you. Except for, in our case, a 22 long rifle, making more wind steerable. You're better off with a slower round, especially same BC, and you're just hunting good SDs and ESs. That's what's going to help you on long range performance. So I'll jump off of that, and that's all I can really. I don't want to get into it too much, be a negative Nancy, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. Excuse me. Yeah, so he says Ryan had his threaded, didn't affect it. Yeah, I mean, it's not for sure going to affect it, but you run the risk. That's why most people avoid it. Let's see. First NRL match, Ruger RPR, cheap 300 scope. CCS here in Los Angeles, placed 8th out of 30 shooters, had a blast. What basic gears? Yes. New to NRL shooter. Do not spend a ton of money on a bipod because bipods are going to hold your rifle up in between stages 99% of the time. Buy a very good bag. I would recommend the Armageddon Gear Game Changers Medium. If I had to have one bag, this bag will do everything for you really well. It's going to come overfilled. Take a little bit of fill out of it and put it on some props. You'll figure out what works. But yeah, don't buy the crazy expensive bipod. Get a bubble level or a LRA Sednet level if you don't have one of those for sure. And a good bag. That's the best things to start out with. And of course, taking the time to get your dope, show prepared, know your rifle, and again, have your dope. Biggest thing. Everything else is workable for sure. Red Ruse can't. Oh, he back. Man, what are you doing over there?
I finally found a battery that's charged. Holy crap. It's ridiculous, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's killing me.
Oh. The Ninja Bread Man. Yeah, you're a little late.
Hey, man, easy on the ginger talk here, homie.
Right. Hold on. I got to delete this comment. This freaking somebody's ban user. Some username Israel is not a country was posting profane crap. That's how you know you made it on YouTube, boys. That the idiots come to your live stream chat to post profane, dumb crap. But hey, comes with the territory.
I'm just glad to get invited to a live stream so people know I'm not dead.
Since you played with everything from Savage and CZs to Voodoo's and Remix, do you think the Voodoo's and Remix offer anything over the 457? I have a very hardcore stance on this, but let's see what Chris thinks.
For most of what we're going to do in PRS rimfire, if you are a dedicated rimfire shooter and you're not participating in the center fire side of things, I personally don't see a reason to go to a Voodoo or a Rimex. The CZ is very, very reliable, very accurate, but it can, without a lot of modification, it can be a hard rifle to balance. So by going to the Remexes, Voodoos, Curtises, etc., you pick up the ability to have this 700 platform setup. For me, it was always very appealing because I had so much Remington 700 stuff just sitting around, right? But if I had to go back and do it all over again, if I wasn't going to shoot center fire too and needing a training rifle, I'd have never bought one. I'd have stayed with CZ.
Right. I love them all. I'm going to take a very scientific approach to this and not give you a real answer, but let you deduce your own. I would say that the CZs.
You don't want to stir up anything.
No, it's going to stir up crap.
I'm just going to smash it with terrible answers.
No. I mean, more than one perspective is good. So the arguments that I've heard, and I'll talk about what I found because I shoot a lot of them. The arguments I heard is that, there's no way that a CZ can do what a Voodoo can do at distance. So when we say at distance, let's break down what that could mean. But we're talking accuracy. So ignition, right? Like we know the CZ can get the round into the chamber without deforming it. So once we're in the chamber, now we need to set it off. So ignition, I can get as low SDs and ESs out of a CZ as I can a Voodoo or a Rimex. The CZ has a lot of pinfall. It's very forgiving. It has very good ignition, especially if you modify the firing pin or buy a modified firing pin. So with the same SD and ESs, it comes down to barrel. Now, obviously, up here is a Muller Works. So that's just as good as the Muller Works that's in my Rimex that you can't see down below me, just as good as that Krieger. It's in my Voodoo. So at the end of the day, if you can ignite it the same, if you can get the same SD and ESs and the same lockup, what could you possibly gain? Like Chris says now, the 700 platform, you can use 700 triggers, go chassis. They're a lot more adaptable, a lot more, you could be a trainer, and they're great rifles. But I think as far as scientifically looking at them, no, there's nothing that the other two can do that the CZ can't do. And I would even say that the Rimex is a great action, but built on the ragged edge of pinfall reliability. And what I mean is that it is built so that you need to have the right trigger in it to get 100% of the pinfall to get really consistent ignition. If you mismatch the wrong trigger with the wrong action, and you can get to a thing where you're maybe not getting consistent ignition. That doesn't exist in the Voodoo because the pinfall is overbuilt. It doesn't exist in the CZ because it's a production rifle that was meant to overdo ignition because, it's production rifle. People are going to shoot a bunch of random crap through it. So the short answer for me is absolutely not. And especially when one looks like that guy up there. If you were looking at that rifle and that rifle and that rifle, that one's a 223, ignore that one. But the top two, they look almost the same. That's because they're configured exactly the same. They balance exactly the same. When the top one's a 457, the bottom one is not. So for me, no, easy question.
My only deal is if I went into it thinking I was going to go that far right from the beginning,
right,
I'd have probably bought a Voodoo.
Right.
Because where I came from on that stance is the fact that I have watched not just one, but several guys go by CZ MTRs.
Right.
And shoot neck and neck right beside the top guys. Some of those guys will know exactly who they are. They know who I'm talking about. But I've seen it. An MTR with Standard Plus finished within a fraction of a point from number one at an NRL 22X match that both of us were at.
Right.
So,
yeah, I guess there's one thing I'll give it.
Comes down to the guy behind the gun, I think.
Right. The actions are a lot smoother on the Rimex and the Voodoo than the CZ. The CZs are smooth, and they can be really smooth, but they're not as smooth. So I guess there's a slight advantage to the fact that the Rim-X and the Voodoos weigh a little bit more and their action is smoother, so that when you're on a prop, you're less likely to disrupt the gun off level. So it could help you like a little bit. I'm reaching here, but
man, yeah, because with just a little bit of DIY work on your
right.
CZ, man, they can be smooth. Red Rooster's got one on here. His CZ, that's arguably one of the smoothest I've ever shot.
Right. Do you know of any place? I don't think any place sells SK by the lot number. Do you?
There used to be a place I thought out Joplin, Missouri. I can't remember the name of the website. Some of the shooters on here might remember it. I don't know if they're even still in business, to be honest with you.
Right.
Shoot. I can't see the comments, so I don't know who's on to ask.
Yeah. Hey, Day at the Range is on. He said, so do you think that? I think he's talking about, yes. So I don't hate on the long range match though, because it wasn't done to me in the same manner. So I think they offer something. Lapua Center X. Go ahead.
There's a distinct velocity difference in SK long range match from the other ammos that were out at the time, where I think where you're headed with it, the same place I'd go is it feels like Lapua long range and super long range are just, which ones had, a batch of fewer quality deficiencies or something.
Right.
I don't know that they really did anything other than
it's the same
campaign.
It's the same bullet. And I will say this about the SK. I think they, like I said, to me, it's the same thing. Yes. Like if SK long range match is shooting like much faster, then, is it better because it's faster? No. But like he said, I think the problem, what that was filling a gap is most of the Lapua stuff was shooting like 1060, 1070 at most. The SK long range would get you 1090, 1100. And so it was like to fill the gap of where it is. But I think maybe they should have called it something else or whatever, because I think, the general principle of shooting something faster is going to make it better at long range is actually not true. But I don't think it was a marketing thing for them.
Yeah. The funny thing to me is like when you stick, say, SK long range match into these 24-inch target barrels, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get that round quelled down to somewhere between 1080 and 1100 feet per second, depending on how tight your bore is. Which, in reality, if you look at most of your, say, Ely match lots, right, they're tested in Europe with a 26-inch barrel.
Right.
So, they may be advertising that lot's 1070, but that's 1070 out of a 26-inch barrel.
Right. Yeah.
By the time you stick it in a 20-inch barrel, it's fast.
Right. Yeah. Their box velocities mean almost nothing here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend too much time. Yeah, we kind of hit that, but I think they need to reform it too. Yeah. Keep the senior guys out just trying to go win stuff. Just kind of seems dumb. I've done a little bit of this weight sorting and rim thickness sorting. If you get good ammunition, you don't need to do any of that. It really doesn't matter. If you've got crap ammunition you're starting with, sure, it can help. I've tested some high-end stuff. It didn't make any difference to me.
One of the most popular videos on my channel is weight sorting. And then you know how many comments I get on that video? Because people are like, why'd you waste your time doing this? It's not going to do anything. I'm like, well, did you watch to the end of the video? So we come to that conclusion at the end. If you already do it, though, why are you here?
Well, it's amazing how many people get mad at you for spending your own money to test something, so they don't have to.
You're getting into conversation.
Let's roll that one. The lots of R50 I've tried are pretty hot out of my video. Yeah, I get R50 is 11 to 11, 10, which is the same for me for Ely. I shoot an Ely average of 1100 to 1110.
The lot of R50 I tested out of my Voodoo was running like, I want to say like 1095, consistently just shy of 1100.
Right. What's considered great for SEs and ES for 22 March CCI? So great, I would say Amazing, which is R50, is probably the only place I've done this. Amazing is 2 to 3. Right. Great would be 4 to 6 probably. Good would be 6 to 10, and then but 10 for CCI standard velocity ain't bad. The 37 ES is a little bit much.
See, I feel like you're breaking that down a lot further than I would. To me, great is anything sub 5. Good is anything sub 10. If we're past 10, then it's like, oh, I don't know that I really want to shoot this.
Right.
And then on the ES, the ES is one that some other guys I know, they always drove that one real hard, but it, anything more than what is it, 18 to 22 seems to be about average.
Right. Yeah, I think I shot today, and I was just testing something in the Voodoo, and I think it shot a 4 SD and a 17 ES, and which is pretty much like the benchmark of good ammo for me. 4 to 5 SD with under sub 20 ES seems to be like you're not going to have any problem in distance holding targets for sure.
Yeah, I don't run into very many lots that are that good. Maybe I don't know if it's a climate thing or maybe it's just a Lapua thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. The R50 I had tested was crazy. So what SK Semi run that? Why would be they speed that up to run the action for reliability. So that's hotter. So because it's a blowback, so it's got to cycle that bolt. So they want to do it to make sure it's reliable. That's why that's a little hotter ammo. Let's see. Old Day at the range. He's popped in and asked a couple of things. Matt, I believe sorting does help a little. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, you get back to that area of diminishing returns, right? A lot of work for a little bit of benefit.
How about kid versus kid shoot? I'm not sure my wife would approve of a duel between my daughters. But he's kid versus kid. I did that. I did my built. I had the super grade, which is a bot kid, and then the one I built. The one I built actually outperformed the super grade, but that's out of the ammo I had then. If I had Chris's ammo still in that super grade, nothing would beat it because it shot 0.1s. But the built one I have runs pretty solid. Kid just makes good stuff.
I remember when you first got that, we were shooting it at that, just wearing that little 1/4-inch target on the KYL out.
Right. This is a surprising thing too, because I think we're talking about speed. So you want to flatten out trajectory and reduce. You'd be surprised because I did a video on SK high velocity versus like some generic high velocity and some match grade subsonic, and like the high velocity generic stuff actually had like a really crappy BC, and it was barely flatter than my subsonic, but the SK high velocity was of course a lot faster, and it had about the same BC as the match. And you're really not, you're going to have to dial no matter what. You're not going to shoot at 50 and then at 120 and not be able to hold just because you're using high velocity.
And kind of my rebuttal to that comment would simply be, if we're talking varmint hunting, sure, fast, flat shooting, whatever.
Yeah, 3,000 feet a second.
In PRS, I will take a freaking rainbow trajectory of an ammunition so long as it is repeatable.
Right.
I have to have confidence in that dope. And if it's not repeatable, then I don't care how flat or fast it is.
Right. For me, it's a weighing of controlled and what you can't control, right? So I can control my preparation before the match to get my dope. I can control how much time I take to write down a good dope card. I can't control the wind. So when I can't control the wind, I'm not going to give the wind any more advantage. And to give the wind advantage, speed up your round on a low BC round, 22 we're talking, not center fire. But so if I speed up at 22 to gain some advantage that I could easily just dial my way out of, why would I give the wind more steerability over my bullet just to get a little bit to dial 2/10 less at distance? Doesn't make sense, because I can dial. I can't change the fact that the wind's going to gust or not going to gust. And oftentimes wind steerability is the difference between hitting a target and not at distance. Here's a good one, Chris. I don't know. I wish I had a gunsmith on. longer barrels. I think this is the generally accepted kind of, what we generally accept, that the longer you make, the more things equalize.
Yeah, we've discussed this a lot, either on either channel or I've had people on some of the BS at the bench sessions I used to do and what have you. But our theory is that it uh, increases stability in the round out at distance, right? That we're we don't need a 24-inch barrel to do. Oh, good Lord. That picture just kills me. That kangaroo.
Well, that's
or
Tree
something
Feller. It's
else.
Jason. Have you met Jason?
No, I don't think so.
He's
But,
slightly uglier than you. It's terrible.
But yeah, we only need a 16-inch barrel to get a full powder burn. But if you look
Right.
at your SDs and extreme spread on that, they're going to be through the roof. You go to these 20+ inch barrels, and 24 seems to be where everybody agrees you really hit it well. A lot of evidence. It may be maybe not logged perfectly, but
Right.
seen a lot of people doing it.
It said, rookie here, I'm sure you all use a log to notate results and suggestions one can purchase. I actually don't keep any kind of but I'm shooting and playing with these every day. So to me, it's like at this point in time, if somebody pointed out a gun, I could tell you what lot it shoots of what. But I'm like, I'm obviously way more involved because I'm shooting and testing these things day in and day out. But I would say don't overcomplicate it. You're going to spend more money than you should be spending anyway. Just get a notebook, piece of paper or something, and just, if you find something noteworthy, take a note. If not, just don't even worry about it. But you will quickly, I think, when you find that a lot that's really amazing or something, you won't have any problem remembering that. And unfortunately, you can't go back and buy that lot once you bought it. Like once it's sold out, then they're gone. So it's time to retest. So let's see. Longer barrels don't help that much. They do increase your speed. Well, that would depend, Jim, on a lot of things. On like if you went from a 14-inch to an 18-inch. Right. Yeah. So center fire, true. Air rifles, very true. 22. Once you hit about 18, 20 inches, you're gonna actually start going the opposite directions. But you would be, and I don't, I'm a PRS guy, so I really don't freak out and spend a lot of time worrying about this stuff. But I think if you walked into a bench rest club with a bunch of 22 bench rest guys and told them longer barrels don't help that much, I think you would get chewed out by everybody at the club who's over 90, which is 90% of the shooters there, because they all shoot super long barrels for a reason. And like I said, I'm not in that boat. I can't say true or not, but all of those bench rest guys that have been doing it for 30, 40 years, national titles, they all believe in longer barrels, equalize SDs, and those are the guys trying to shoot one hole groups all the time. So I kind of lean towards just believing in those guys' research because I'm kind of not willing to commit the ammo and time to do it myself.
Hey, do you remember Phil's been texting me while we've been talking? Do you remember what you told Phil when he asked you about going to shoot an F-class match?
Do what now?
Do you remember what you told Phil when he asked you to go shoot an F-class match?
I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure I remember. Like probably saying I'm not a senior citizen.
What was it? It was something like, I'm not 90. Why would I do that too early? Or why would I do that now?
Yeah. And I mean, I shouldn't knock on those guys, but I like PRS because it's active. And I'm not going to shoot F-class or anything like that until I can't shoot PRS. Here's a good one. My answer is super simple. 16 twist has worked for a long time. It continues to work. It works because it's paired with 40 grain ammunition. Some people find success at faster twist rates. Faster twist rates are way more ammo picky. You're going to have harder time. You have more spin drift, but there are still people who think that 12, 14 twist is the miracle twist, but most everybody comes back to 16 twist.
If you got the budget to chase every crazy lot that there is out there, by all means, please go shoot fast twist so I can buy ammo that I'm like.
I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. Was it a Bagara?
Yeah, he said he would go to Nedved if he was gonna get a voodoo. Let's see. Todd says, thanks have been shooting an MTR. Honestly, what turns me off to the voodoo rims versus CZ is the feeding issues. Yeah, people have. The problem is 700s are not. The magazine is interfaced to the action on the 457. When you go 700, it's not the case. But I could say my Rimexes, my Voodoos feed flawlessly, but I take the time to set them up. Yeah, you get the right mag. They can be very, very reliable. But you're right. The CZs are, you're just not going to have problems because they're just good.
So, yeah, even like, I mean, yeah, not only do you have to adjust, your up and down, but what I've started doing is shimming these also from underneath so that I get, I kind of take up some of that other tolerance. But,
right.
When you're talking Voodoos, Rimexes, whatever, you're talking race cars of
I run those guys.
It's if you're gonna have to tune it, play with it, adjust it. Sometimes it just ain't gonna be perfect.
Right. Subject to matching, I always say a good fair distance for a match. That would be good for some of the matching. Out to 400 is fine. Most people have kind of slimmed it in. At a full size IPSC, 400 is not a problem. Most people can dial or hold that, and the guns for sure can easily shoot that. I like them to go out to 400. I personally would like to see them out further, but not everybody's scope can accommodate that, so I see why people don't do it.
Even at 400, what are you dialing, like 20 mils, 21, something like that?
21-ish, yeah. But, I mean, if it's on, and I like it to see it where if they're going to have further targets, walk it out. Make it an ELR stage that, starts at 100, 150, 200, 250, 300.
Troop line.
Yeah. So that way, people, you're not at a total disadvantage. You're not starting at, like I've seen people run like you start at the 400 or 450 and you have to hit to move on. And I'm like, that's kind of like, here's a good one. Advice on best budget scopes. That would be really dependent on the budget, but I kind of have mine. What do you think, Chris?
Man. I got one that I've been testing that I'm a little scared to even recommend just yet.
Does it start with Arkin?
No, it doesn't actually.
Oh.
It's been I think it was in one of my last videos I shot with my Tika. It's a Discovery.
Oh yeah, the Discovery. Yep.
But the weird thing is, I think there's 2 Discovery optics out there, and they like kind of bounce off each other or rip each other off. I'm not real sure, to be honest with you.
Well, I think they're both Chinese anyway, right? So
yeah, they're both from China. But the 5 to 30 I've got is absurdly clear for being. I think it's like 300 and something bucks, 350.
Right.
For a 5 to 30, but I haven't done anything with it aside from shoot here at the house a little bit, just on my range. 50 and 100 yards, it would be fine. I'm weird when it comes to the Arkin stuff. As much as I like it, I actually prefer the SH4 Gen 2 6 to 24 as I do to the 5 to 25 EP5. For some reason, the eye box and everything, it just agrees with me better.
I have one. I'm testing it. But yeah, I would say for me, SH4 Gen 2, which is the Chinese made scope that has Japanese glass. And then in between there, I would start looking at Athlons, up to the Midas. I would stop probably at the Midas. And then I would jump straight to the Trax or the Cronus. If you like the Cronus, it's a good scope, but then the Trax, and then we're totally out of budget. But I think they probably meant more budget than that. But SH4 Gen 2 and then the Athlon. The low-end Athlon scopes are really good value.
Yeah, if you're going to go, if you're getting out of that, $500, sub $500 territory, then I feel like Athlon's the only place to really go.
Right.
Especially with that Midas tack, 5 to 25,
That's good.
56. I run one on my CZ, man. I love that scope.
It's great. And I shot all the way up the Midas or the Athlon line when I first started. I mean, I went to air, like the Argos to the, and I'm even forgetting now, the Helos, and they were all good. They all, I said, like, they basically compete with Vortex.
I have a hard time getting the Chronos to parallax to my eye, but I'm left eye dominant and I have astigmatism, so
this has got to be for you, or maybe for me, and maybe I just forgot I was supposed to do a Savage.
I've got one. I mean, it's I think I did a couple of videos with it. I need to bring it back and kind of test the distance on it. I've had a lot going on, new job, and some family stuff and what have you, but we got some new stuff coming, and we're going to revive some of these older builds and refresh them a little bit. So stay tuned.
Right. I think I mentioned it too. If you were talking to me, I've been wanting to do one. Ammo has just absolutely murdered my budget. And then I had the Seiko. That was like a once in a lifetime buy. I didn't really have the channel money to buy it, but I just bought it because you just don't see them. So that kind of killed the money, because I was going to get a Savage, because I do want to do a nice Savage build. When you're saying 3 to 4 SD, how many rounds are you looking at? Ely match is shot 4 SD over 20 rounds. When I went to 100 rounds, it was at 6. Yeah, so I do like 10 rounds, 10 to 20. It does. I mean, you don't need to get, if you shoot 100 rounds and you're at 6, you're golden. I mean, you're going to get one out of every, 50. That's just going to do something crazy. That's rimfire.
It's going to do some craziness.
Yeah, so generally, I usually do 10. Yeah.
That's what a magazine is, right? That's what takes to get me through a stage.
Yeah. So. Everyone wants to know about gear, but let's talk practice. What's your guys' perfect? I tell you, lately, man, I ain't practice crap. But when I do practice, I like to do micro stuff. Yeah, he's been fishing. What I usually tell people, if you were going to practice, don't go out and just shoot a bunch of stuff like you're in a match, because it's not going to give you match experience, and hard skills are two different things. You got to go to matches to get match experience, but I like to isolate things. So shoot off props, but say I'm going to break every shot with a super clean trigger pull. And who cares if you hit or miss or you read the wind right or wrong? All that matters is that you broke that trigger as perfectly as you could every single time. And then let's move to something else. Let's work on barricades, getting the reticle the most stable in the position, and break everything down as far as you can.
Yeah. And for me, one-shot drills have been a big deal. It was kind of brought out that I tend, my first shot on a stage sometimes I can exaggerate it out to like 15, 20 seconds, and I should be breaking the first shot in 8 or less. So it's just one of those deals. I believe the one-shot drill is one that's really helped me a lot. But to Josh's point, just isolate one problem at a time. Don't try to eat the whole elephant in a bite.
Yeah, if you work on everything, you effectively work on nothing. We've seen this in person at your shop, trying to make a video that we end up being another video. It said longer barrels uniform the projectile more. I would assume you're talking about Kenny at DPG. I don't think it uniforms the bullet, because we accidentally set off some bullets in a barrel and slugged them out. And depending on the bullet, like SK and Lapua don't really deform at all. Whereas Ely, as soon as it's fired, it sits and squishes back. So it wasn't going to get any more uniform going down the barrel. Within the first 8 inches of the barrel, it had made itself a perfectly to the barrel slug. So I don't think the longer barrel helps.
It shocked me that the SK round did not deform hardly any at all. I mean, next to nothing.
Right.
Where the Ely bullet was unrecognizable. Like if you didn't know it was there.
Yeah, I mean, it likes the Ely bullet, saying if you had a bullet starts out this long, the Ely bullet, the whole shoulder, everything squishes back, and this whole area becomes perfectly matched to the barrel, and it just has a little tiny nub. whereas the SK bullet just looked like it had rifling marks in it, and they were shot through the same barrel, but never. They only went about halfway down the barrel, and then we just popped them out. But yeah, I don't think it's going to do anything to the bullet. Now as far as I think it may help, kind of equalize things as far as velocity.
I got a question. See what you
Right.
think. Kind of going back to the training deal.
Yeah.
What do you think about some of these stages that are coming out that are extra goofy or a little far-fetched, right? Kind of getting away from the practical in precision rifle, right?
Right. What I think is
how do
goofy is
you
screens.
practice to hang from a thing? And I don't know. It's just
I don't know. What I couldn't get over is I'm looking at this. It looks like my gun goes into your screen, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a game. I think at some level of competition, some things like are okay to kind of stretch out there. The thing that burns me up is I'm a big fan of like competitive equity. Like if you're the first guy or the last guy on that stage, you should have the same advantage. So I don't like stages that abuse the first shooter because there's some weird rule set that they get to be the guinea pig for. I don't like that if another shooter can gain some sort of advantage by watching him shoot it. So I like for the stage to be even keel with no real hidden surprises, and just let it be about the shooter. That's the only thing I really get bent out of shape about is when it's puts somebody at a disadvantage just because of the firing order they're firing in. Let's see. Voodoo doesn't install barrel over 22 because of diminishing returns. I've never really talked to Voodoo about it. Yeah, I'm not going to, I don't know. Diminishing returns, I guess, on what? Like velocity or, who knows?
I'd like to stick a tape measure on some of their barrels. They're personal.
Right. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. Tree Feller says my log. Someone's asked about a log is YouTube. Yeah, that's true. Although I don't really even get to watch my own videos.
Man, when I get done with a video, I hit publish. Like I never want to see it again because I spent so many hours editing it. So
right.
I don't want to look at myself anymore.
Yeah, you've already seen it 100 times. Again, this is out of my scope. The Bentress guys will know better. I think 24 inches, you're only shooting out 200 yards. Like a lot of these PRS guns up here can shoot MOA or better at, out to 150, 200 yards. So at 24 inches, maybe longer is better. But
traditionally, too, if you go back to like some of the older style Bentress 22 rimfires or even some of the marksman stuff and whatever,
right.
they were running really long barrels. For many, many years, and they continue to in all of that. So,
right. He was saying that what you were talking before is good shooting. They're in Joplin.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know. I guess we're talking about the same place, Good Shooting Inc. I didn't know they were Joplin.
I couldn't remember the name.
He says fast twists for stabilizing. And yeah, it's another thing I don't know about. I know I've taken 16 twist barrels in Gadsden and Missouri and shot them out. I think the 600-yard range target's 585. And we've done that. I had one video on it, and that was like with Kenny's DPG gun before I even lot tested it. You don't need anything fancy to get out. Like I really think that any of my 16 twists could, if I were to take the time and set them up, that I could shoot out to 700 plus yards pretty easily with pretty good success.
I just got a text from another shooter. He can't comment for some reason, but he was saying that it's actually my buddy Phil, that a lot of stages that are currently being put on in PRS rimfire matches are really limiting some of the older shooters who have some mobility issues, back issues, joint issues, some of the crazier stuff, right, where you're whether you're on a really unstable platform or it's just constantly up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Right.
It can't. It does. The sport has some limitations. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how to make it fair for everybody and still be challenging to the shooters that are at the top of the run.
Right. I think that's the way. Everybody's gear is getting so good that in order to make it to separate the Chris Becks from the Josh Thomases, because Chris Beck he'll eat my lunch in any match, right? And our guns are equal, right? Like, so if there's not a lot of movement or things like that, maybe we score really closely. But I think they do that to push the shooters more, to get more separation in the level of guys that are shooting it now. And unfortunately, they're playing the demographics. Most of the guys shooting it want to be challenged. They're afraid to make it too boring to the guys who are kind of at the top level, to lose them from coming back, versus by making it too. And I think there's things that can be done. I think there's different
some
things that can be
classifications,
done.
maybe some
right
exceptions, right?
Yeah. It would be easy to say old guns like it is in NRL 22 to make something like that at your own match, to say, like, cut the movement in half. Like, if you had to move for 10 positions, maybe just make it 3 positions for the OGs, like, there's things, and that's something your match director can probably do. I think you just got to voice that to them. I don't think the organizations are going to do anything about it. Maven. Oh, sorry. Do I plan on testing? No, I have tested that gun. It just sucks, man. I mean, it sucks. Like, there's nothing that's going to fix that gun. I'm not going to rebarrel it because I'm not going to do them any favors. And I want all my guns to shoot good, but I'm not going to rebarrel their gun and show it shooting really well, because somebody may not watch the whole video and they're going to be like, man, that one guy had one and it shot freaking .2s. And then they go buy one, they're going to be really disappointed. And so the Springfield, I'm actually trying to figure out the coolest way it's like one of the things I want to give it away, but it's like, it's like crabs, man. You don't give crabs to someone as a gift. Like, what I mean? Like, I'm not doing anyone a favor giving it to them. I don't want to just, if I blow it up or something, then people are going to get pissed that I'm blowing up. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know.
I just ordered a new one for the channel, and I'm not.
Right.
I'm holding my expectations. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
Maven.
Here's one for you, the Maven.
Yeah, I got an RS4. What are they, like 4 to 30 or 5 to 30, something like that?
Right.
Parallax adjustment. It's stiff. By God, you gotta put some bear claws on that thing and move it around.
Right.
But there's some other features about that scope I really like. The toolless ReZero, how clean it is.
Right.
I like how I keep that on a hunting gun, actually. So the turrets are, even though they're tactile, they're quiet. They're not going to give me away out in the brush like a Leopold Mark V will when it's going tat 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 tat. It sounds like you're shooting 22 shorts, turning the damn turret.
Right.
Sorry, Dalton, but D'Artagnan, he's gonna have some words for me. Him and Phil both.
Right.
Leopold fan club.
Let's go. There. We're getting behind again. I'm going to go back into rapid fire.
Here we go.
Yeah. So if I skip over y'all's, it's not that I didn't read your comments, just trying to get some of the questions. Ever messed with a 22 long rifle resizing die? I have not.
Nope.
Who is going to do the lead hardness test? Kenny already did it at DPG. We talked about this a long time ago between me and him. The Ely lead is harder than the SK, which makes no sense because the Ely set back and the SK didn't. I don't know, but the Lapua bullet is softer than the Ely on his lead hardness test. I don't have a.
Do you remember what he used to test?
I don't. He had some sort of testing thing for it. I don't know what it was. Honestly, it's been a year probably. My buddy just got a new Ruger Precision 22. What's a good starter round? Cheap, I would
Okay,
say
Red
Standard Plus, right?
Red box for me.
Right. Yeah. Rifle match probably better. Yeah. I would say, let me revise. Standard Plus for shooting, playing. Get the red box, test that, dope it, go to the match with the red box, shoot the yellow box at the house. Somebody said something about I never recommend CCI standard velocity that works in a very, very low percentile stuff, and it won't be competitive with SDs and ESs. And if you're a new shooter, don't put yourself at any disadvantage going in a match. You're going to have a hard enough time anyway. So minimum, I would say, would be SK.
Yeah, I've tried this. It didn't work well.
Right. I have heard of Green Mountain 1022 barrels. I haven't tested one in like forever. Green Mountain actually used to make the Marauder barrels, 25 cals. That was my first deal with them. But
I've had several that I've built 1022s on. They shoot all right.
Right. They're not kids, but they're not bad.
Yeah, they're okay.
I have Bergara Rebuilder DPG. I have been satisfied. The biggest problem is the weight of the gun. They're running all over the place almost up here. Is your problem that it's too heavy or not heavy enough? I guess we'll see if you comment back to that.
I think he's saying it's too heavy.
Probably. Would you suggest owning two rifles come doing bench and PRS comps? Yeah, I would definitely be running two different guns for a bench rest gun versus a PRS gun. Because to get a PRS gun to compete in bench rest, you're going to have the most amazing PRS gun. Like, you're really going to have a ton of money into it. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, if you're just leisurely kind of playing around at a local club, you might get away with it here and there. But if you want to compete and possibly podium finish, you need a purpose-built gun.
This guy. So, Game Changer Medium for sure. If you got to buy a bag, you don't got one. Game Changer Medium Heavy Fill. It's from Armageddon Gear. Absolutely cannot go wrong with that.
I like the Wee Bad Mini Fortune Cookie.
No, I'm just kidding. I have one. It's over there. I like this medium better, though.
The Black Branch just released a new bag the other day, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's we've been working with them on some dimensions and stuff. It's going to be really cool.
Let's see. It said, seems to be purposely trying to make it more like CrossFit. At some point, you have to go to bench rest. Yeah, I don't know that they're making it like CrossFit. Like, some ranges do some crazy stuff, but I think, part of
I feel what this man's saying. Okay, they're making something that's not fat guy friendly. Okay, I got a hashtag on my channel just for this. Not
Redneck apparently talked to someone who's at the top, and they told them that they were lonely. So I think he's Redneck. He's one of my Discord members. He's got some really good guns at Hammer.
I've watched some of his channel too.
Yeah, he's in my Discord too. He's always beating up people in the monthly comps. And we got 22 Lima Romeo. What's up, brother?
Got home from an elk hunt. I am jealous. Why does everybody get to go elk hunting but me? I want to go.
Me too. Here's another good one. Yep. The Match Pro ED. I've been trying to get one to test, even though I already know it's good. I just want to.
It is an excellent piece of glass.
Hey, and, it's Gandalf.
It's freaking Gandalf.
Well, did you see his post today where he dressed up as a bee?
Up there for him? And we little buddies. We'll take you out.
You're little compared to him. Yeah, but he still talks down to you. I wish I had the picture. I could put it in the live stream right now of me, you, and him next to each other.
Oh my God! I was looking at it earlier on my Instagram.
Here's a good one. Do either of you have a problem with light strikes in your voodoos with Ely match? I will say I don't. I don't think Chris does. I will tell you that if you have light strikes in your voodoo, voodoo will send you a spring. That spring is a Band-Aid, because if you have light strikes in your voodoo, you just happen to get one that's on the looser side of headspace. And I guarantee you, if somebody measured up the headspace, you would be 45 thousandths or somewhere. Every voodoo I've seen rebarreled that had light strikes, when we measured it up, the headspace was out. A stiffer spring that voodoo will send you for free because their customer service is really good. It will help that. It will eliminate it, but ultimately it's probably because your headspace is a little on the looser side.
I sent you a screenshot of the picture of where you were having to stand on the stool beside
Right.
Gandalf. I was going to hold it up, but I don't know that it comes across real well.
Yeah, it does. There it is. Hold on. Let me blow yours up. Let me see if it'll.
There
Let
you
me
go.
see. Oh no! Hold on. I'm trying to get it. Nope. Dang it. There. That's close enough.
Yeah. But, I mean, you look at the stool. I mean, you're still
That's
below
Gandalf,
his knee.
bro. Yeah, that guy's. I love Darren. He was. Did you see his post where he was dressed up as the Bumblebee?
Oh, word. Yeah.
Look at it. Look. Hide your wives. Darren's majestic beard just entered the chat.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
I was looking at all the posts. He came up with a hell of a prize table for that event they just had.
I know.
So congrats to them and all the winners and participants.
Hey, that's what it said. Next live stream, make a 3-way by adding Darren. Wait, that didn't sound right. I have not shot any
Darren likes to be
Federsons. Have you shot any Federsons?
What is it?
Federson is a barrel company.
Nope.
What do you think of the Lilja Area 4.9? Some of them turned out really good, but if you get the Lilja, you're going to get the shims with it. So I would rather get one from Lilja. But, Area 419 does a really good job finishing them too. So there's that.
You had an Area 419 Bartland, didn't you?
Yeah, I probably still got it. I got barrels down there. It didn't shoot as good as some of my other Liljas, but it was a very, very tight fit, like he was saying. I mean, they kind of oversized them a little bit. And we've done a little testing on that recently too. Oversizing versus it's kind of like hit or miss on whether it does not. I think you're better off to have an oversized one that you kind of need a thermal fit. Let's see. Pulled out half of it yesterday when I jumped up from Pone and the beard was stuck between the rifle and the
Oh, God. I wish I could have been there to see that one.
We got the Adidas jumpsuit wearer in the chat. Someone that I'm taller than, so I do appreciate you showing up. Arcan or Vortex for PRS 22s. Well, the problem is Arcan makes this many scopes. Vortex makes this many scopes. So if you're going to say EP5 versus a Razor Gen 3, or even some of their other ones that are 1,000, of course, their scopes are going to be better. The real question is, do the Vortex scopes bring you as much value for dollar? No. I think you'll find the Athlon scopes are going to bring you more value per dollar versus the Vortex. So
yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes sense here is like comparing an Arcan SH4 to a Diamondback Tactical, where I'm going to take the Arcan every time.
Oh yeah, it'll just the diamond crap, as I refer to it.
It doesn't have a zero stop. If it doesn't have a zero stop, I'm not shooting with
it. And it's 8 mils per revolution on a mill. Like nobody wants to do that math. Nobody.
No.
But yeah, Michael's right. The rim thickness is probably the thinnest out of anybody for Ely. So if you're looser on headspace, you add Ely to the mix, you can get light strikes. If you're properly headspace, you should never have to worry about it. Oh, here's a good one. If you put a trigger in a CZ, would it be a Timney or Jarred? I'm going to answer your question by not answering your question by saying PRS, Timney. If I was going to do like F class or just a purely off the bench, Jarred. The Jarred has more trigger movement than the Timney, but the Jarred is lighter. But for PRS, Timney all the way because it has much less actual movement.
I leave no room for indecision. Timney.
Right. Yeah. Timneys are just good people.
I'll be the controversial one on here.
If you had $2,500, what would be the scope, gun, and accessories for PRS? Oh, I mean,
$2,500 for the whole package.
Right, I think he's talking about the whole package. Could I upgrade it later? If I could upgrade it later, it would be okay. Well, this will be a good segue. I'm just going to tell you guys who's the barrel that is. So, The barrel's expensive.
Here we go.
Yeah, so this Modicam Custom Rifles is launching pre-fit barrels for CZs. They've already done Rimexes. They did them for Fred at Bison Tactical. He will carry a few. If you go to his website, he will have them on there. They're out of stock. He's offering a 1.18-inch Muller, 1-inch Kriegers. There'll be more 1.1s, but they're done by him. They have the ones we've tested have been freaking amazing. They add a ton of weight to a CZ, so I think easily I would buy the cheapest CZ I could, which would be like what, $500 for like the junior model one. I would add his barrel, which would bring me. His barrel is going to be expensive now, so let me say that's a Muller Works 25-inch blank. That's a $500 barrel blank. So the prefit is going to cost you like $800. It's like buying a Rimex prefit. It's not cheap, but it's a 1.18-inch Muller Works barrel blank. You know, it is what it is. So I would add $800 to the cost for that. That would put me at like $1,300. I would probably, to save money right away, buy the Element 4.0 XLR chassis, as you can get that for like $400 or $500. And then I would probably put on like an EP5, or actually the SH. I would do the SH Gen 2, the like what Chris was saying, the one I'll have there, and that would leave me the $100 and something bucks left over to get the Timney trigger, and eventually I would move to an ACC. But yeah, I don't know. What would you do, Chris?
Ah, man, we're gonna be so close on that one. That's gonna be a hard one to call with that kind of price limit. You know, I'm probably gonna buy a CZ 457 MTR. You're probably gonna be what, $900 in right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I'm probably gonna go to like a Midas TAC or or you know, maybe kind of go on up from there. Maybe something on that Cronus level. Maybe what are the tracks running? Are they?
Yeah, they're about the same. You can get the 4 to 25 for like the around $1,500.
Yeah, because I think with the MTR, the stock gives me enough to work with. The accuracy's there. I'm going to focus in heavy on glass, get the best glass I can possibly get with the rest of my budget, and you know, throw an Arca rail on it and a halfway decent bipod and go to work.
Call her a day.
Yep.
I don't know what this. Saw the base cholesterol for NRL 22 change price cap from 12 to 1,300, assuming 600 for rifle and 700 for scope. Any insights? I think that's basically the same question. Man, if I had to run base class, yeah, I think it would be MTR and the SH4 Gen 2. I think that would fit the bill.
No doubt.
And yeah, if I had more money, I would do other things. But let's see. Every time I tried a heavier spring rimfire, it shot close to the same or worse from factory. Lighter seems to be the way to go. Still got to be strong enough to constantly. Yeah. So there's two parts of the ignition. There's the weight of the spring, and then there's the distance, right? So the amount of pinfall. I found that pinfall, the amount it can travel, is almost more important than the weight. You know, like because it needs to kind of accelerate and pick up speed. But yeah, I mean, if usually when I see rifles that misfire, it's not at all because of the spring or needing a heavier one. It's because of headspace. Here's a good one. Which is better, mill or MOA?
Mill.
Scientific. Well, objectively, mill. For a number of reasons. Everybody shoots mill. Everybody knows mill. It's easier to dial mill. Scientifically, 0. If you're using there's no difference. If you're using your reticle to gauge, you miss by this much, dial up or hold that much, they work the same. But everybody shoots mill. It's easier.
Look at me. Look into my eyes. Mill.
Right. Well, you look kind of cross-eyed, so I don't know you're the best representative for mill optics and reticles right now.
Yeah, if I'm shooting PRS, I'm going to shoot with mill. If I'm going to go shoot F-class or bench rest, then 100% dive back down to MOA where you have a finer adjustment. Right. You're probably in those classes too. You're not even going to be shooting 1/4 inch click or 1/4 MOA click. You're going to be shooting 1/8 or 16th.
Yep. Right.
So it's really about what do you want it to do? It's still just a unit of measurement. As long as you understand it, you can make it do what you want it to do. It as long as your reticle matches your turrets. That's the main
Right.
thing. Whatever you're
Yeah.
the most comfortable with.
Yep. I think they have
As long
long
as
since gotten over the there were some scope companies that were where it had like mill reticles and MOA turrets. It was the dumbest thing. As far as the
Ugh.
discontinued Bartlands, I think they just can't get them. The big problem right now is Krieger, Bartline, all those guys. You can't get barrels from them. Those guys, and they don't treat most of those guys don't treat dealers different than customers, especially Krieger, right? So just because you sell Krieger barrels, you're not going to get them any faster than what they would release them on their website. So you're looking at 2 times a year, even as someone who smiths Kriegers, that you can get Kriegers probably. And I'm sure that that's why they probably at some point just said, screw it. We're just not getting them in. And that's somewhat true. Arkans are hit or miss. I mean, at that price point, you're talking, QA/QC. Like, good thing is you can send it back, get one that does work. But yeah, I mean, at the price they're selling them at, they're not going to be $1,000 worth of QA/QC.
Yeah, at those price points, I expect some high numbers on there.
Ryan Drink from Kansas. Actually, let me look it up. I spitballed 500. I'm not even sure what the
where are you getting an XLR element for 500?
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember them being pretty cheap, cheap-ish. So okay, so the chassis is $375 by itself, but then you have to buy. So let me see, CZ457 right hand, and then we need a TR2 buttstock. So we're $375 plus $250. So that's not that far off. A little off. So I was, a little underselling them there, but it's $375 for the chassis and then $250 for the buttstock. So that's
Josh. Somebody's in here. I'm going to need you to get over here and Judy chop this in a hurry.
Yeah, another little kid named Judy chopped in Missouri, huh?
Yep, you'll need some Judy chopping.
Let's see what else we got. Ninja Bread Man, and you are right. Only time America will accept the metric system is mills. So I've been in the Army too long not to accept anything anyway. I think the metric system is easier. I wish we ran on the metric system because I'm an idiot.
I used to work for an Australian company as a subcontractor for one of their naval shipyards over here in the U.S. Everything we did was metric. And Chinese made, as with both Chinese products, there's often quality control issues. The thing is like 90% of the scopes we're probably going to talk about in regards to rimfire and any kind of budget are all going to be Chinese made.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter which brand we're talking. We're talking Arkan, Athlon, Vortex, all of them.
Right. And I can't,
the top tier products.
Right. I make a big deal about this in the video. You guys haven't seen it yet because I didn't want to release it when Monocam wasn't ready to launch their stuff. But I talk about that a lot. I moved away from CZs because I couldn't get the weight and balance. So I went Rimex, Voodoo. Now that this guy exists up here, it weighs what my Voodoo weighs. It balances the same as my Voodoo. It's easy. The little mags I actually enjoy. It's not finicky. It works, extracts, ejects, feeds all the time. That's probably going to be my competition gun now, back to a CZ457. And when you've got all the other options, I've got probably the most accurate B14R that I've ever seen. I think it's probably the best B14R ever built. I got the Rimex. I got the Voodoo. I got all of them. I'm probably going to be shooting the CZ with this new setup.
It's just so hard to beat how fast you can run a CZ action.
Right. Oh, man. I mean, they're freaking nuts. I shot like the magazine thing test, and man, I am just like kicking the crap out of my 50 RKYL. I mean, it's ridiculous. That video will be out in about a week. Appreciate you, brother. You two and Bud are amazing examples of the sport. I don't know. You might know him. I don't know which Bud he's talking about.
Is he talking about Weber?
I guess. I mean, I assume he's a Missouri guy.
The name,
let's see.
I know a lot of people by faces and first names, but there's a good chance this is somebody I've shot with. I know a bunch of Marks, so I apologize if I don't know your last name, bud. Sorry.
Trying to get to thoughts on the man. I'm going to butcher the Manuel Cedejo. It's a really good chassis. So it has, let me get out of the way. Let's see if I can get out of the way. It's right there. And let's see if it'll refocus if I'm out of the screen. It's got everything you would want. It's got, it's got a nice tapered flared mag well. It's the adjustment for the length of pull. I wish I could show you now. I can't. It's good. I mean, it's got some things, areas of improvement, and that's kind of, I tested it. Like the internal weights, they block the inside of the M-lock. So if you want to run externals where your internals are, the internal weights need to have a M-lock groove cut in them so that you can still run them, if that makes sense. But it's got a good night vision bridge. The chassis is super solid. And I'll be filming with that tomorrow. But so far, it's really nice. It's Australian, so it's going to be a pain to import to the U.S. So it's probably not anything U.S. guys are remotely interested in. Michael Litzer, nope, that's a home-built DIY one. So that's a pre-fit barrel and an ACC on a CZ Action Timney trigger. And video hopefully coming out beginning of the week. Just waiting on Modicam to be ready. And I'm not going to give it all. Appreciate you, Slav, brother. I'm not going to give all of his stuff away. Modicam does some different stuff or is doing different stuff with his chambering, not using what would traditionally be used. And the results have been really crazy good. Said, if you go to his website, you can see the product, you can see the price. If you go into the product, you can see My Ugly Mug doing a video on how to install it and add the bolt shims, those kind of things. And that applies to any bolt if you're even just looking for a video. It's a private video, so it's only on his webpage. So I could have just bought a new barrel instead of the Voodoo. I switched just because CZ was. Yep. And it's brand new. So, I mean, it happens. You're not going to be mad that you bought a Voodoo. Like, I'm not selling my Rim-X and Voodoo just because the CZ has a hunker of a barrel on it now. I like them all. They all have their place. The Voodoo will be smoother. Or it should be smoother. That's going to be a great gun for you. There's nobody that I know has switched to a Voodoo and went, damn, man, wish I didn't buy this Voodoo. It just doesn't really happen. It's like glass. You go up, you're not really mad. Maybe you could say, dang, I didn't need to spend that much money. But
I have met one person that regretted buying a Voodoo.
Who's that? Call him out.
I'm staying out of this one, but it has happened. I will say that.
What's up, brother? Yeah, I mean, there's going to be somebody who's, I think, at the end of the day, they're great guns. The best thing about Voodoo that I can say, they have off the charts customer service. Like, if you call them up and say, hey, my crap is light striking, they're going to say, what's your address? They're going to send you a spring. They're going to ask you about Ely. If you need followers, they are going to take care of you. And 100%. That goes a long way.
And I mean, the level of accuracy you're going to get out of some of those factory, those Voodoo builds is just, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat.
Right. I actually think we're somewhat catching up. Yeah, I know. We got two back. So yeah, the way we went about getting them back is not something that I would probably explain on the live stream, but we got two. The second one was found by the police. So the second one, which was one of my bikes, was found. They beat the absolute crap out of it. I had to get a whole new wheel assembly, sprockets changed, do a complete engine rebuild. Basically, they wheelied it and put like 20 or 30 hours on it. And if you got any MX style bikes, like motocross stuff, you change the oil like every couple of hours. And this had no oil in it. Basically, when I got it back in the same oil, they just beat the crap out of it. So it cost me a crap ton of money, but I did. We did at least get two back, which is way more than most people recover. And I appreciate the super sticker from you, brother, for sure. Oh crap! We got all the Canadians rolling in. We got Epic Arms. Man. Yep. Which I think he renamed his channel just for his biceps. Like, the dude's just freaking like his biceps are the size of your head. I mean, it's redonkulous, dude. Like, he is blown up, man.
He's one of them crazy Viking people from the north.
Right. And no, Biden said I can't send you guys any ammo right now, so you Canadians are just going to have to go back to like taking icicles and like pouring them into bullets and shooting them out of a bow and arrow or something, which is dumb. We got a new one. We're pretty much caught up. Speaking of wearable parts, where are you getting your ejectors, firing pins, spring clips for your CZ guns? So I can't remember the name of it. A company just came out with, they're going to be selling the springs. They immediately sold out. But aftermarket company selling the springs. You can also get ejectors and stuff from them. And Modicam is selling modified CZ 457 firing pins, but so is Pete's Pillars. They sell a modified one. So there's places, I can't remember, somebody in here is a big CZ nut, and they will know the place that just came out with the spring clips and stuff.
Come on, Rooster, where you at?
Oh. Redneck says you're going to see my voodoo on Sniper Side soon. Hey, hit your boy up. One, I think it was Ray. Ray taught me this. So I'm going to give him credit. And when I say Ray, it's X-raying. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So maybe I need another voodoo. I only got 1. Of course, I'm saying that Redneck knows how cheap I am. So that's what he said. Epic Arms is on steroids. Bro, I think steroids is on Epic Arms. Like, that's just the other way around. Like, that guy ain't using steroids. Steroids is using that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's Pillars for CZ parts. Lots of, so okay, it must be Pete's. Yeah. Here's a good one. So is a big CZ nut. It's you, man. Yeah, that's been me. Do you guys hunt? That's it. Chris. Oh, you're the more interesting answer.
Well, I mean, you've got it all zoomed in, but what?
Oh, let me back you up.
Over there. There's another. There he is. He's up there. I hunt some. Kind of backed off of it the last couple of years, but I have some center fire content based around setting up hunting rifles. Even a hunting video that I did with a friend of mine, Bobby. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get more into coyote hunting. One of my buddies, we kind of refer to him as D'Artagnan, but he got me into 22 Creedmoor, and that's why I built that particular rifle. If you go back and look at the videos on the channel, playing with it for some coyote hunting, and then other stuff we do. Other stuff I do is I'm from central Arkansas, so a lot of duck hunting over the years, stuff like that. So
right. He said recreationally. He's a wreck. Oh.
Whatever he's on, I need some of it.
I like starting rumors. Here's a good one. Reliable interweb seller for SK, blue collar reloading, and Creedmoor, I think. Does Creedmoor sell SK?
That's where I got my RWS. I don't know if they sell SK or not.
That's right. Yep. Good shooting.
An online place. Oh shoot, Ammo Fast. I've ordered from them in the past. They're out of Kansas.
Right.
I always throw a bone or throw one out to Midwest Long Range. They're not Midwest Long Range, Midwest Gun and Pawn. My buddy Phil's shop, but he's not online. But if you look at the end of any of my videos, his phone number is on there. You can call him and he'll take care of you.
So this is for the rail. Any ARCA rail, left hand or right hand, don't matter. Just put an ARCA rail on it. You can just drill through your stock, bolt it together, and then you can use an ARCA. That's what everybody's going to use anyway. And if you're getting into PRS or NRL, you might as well just put an ARCA rail on your stuff, because everybody's stuff who's there that will let you use stuff for a stage that you may not have gear for is probably going to be ARCA. So I think that's what he's asking.
It was either that or the scope rail.
Well, he said for a QD bipod. That's what made me think. Yeah. Right. I was thinking scope rail at first too, which I had no idea about. That's what Redneck. I haven't started an OnlyFans for my center fire, bro. The feet content
And
is dead,
they
man.
wouldn't
You
buy
got to
my feet
go.
pictures. They
Right.
wouldn't even buy my feet pictures. I put them
No,
on
that
OnlyFans.
you got to go way more crazy than that now. Yeah, the feet picture stuff.
We know what you talk
thing.
about all the time, but we won't go down that on your live stream.
Here's a good one.
You'll never have me
Witten
on live
Gunworks.
stream again.
Witten Gunworks has been
Witten
good.
Gunworks?
That's the one I wasn't familiar with. The A22 Precision. I did a video on that. I think it was my buddies a while back. I think it was the A22. Pretty sure. It was pretty decent. It was worth the money.
Really? I mean, there's a whole lot of oxymorons in that. I mean, there's a
Right,
Savage,
but it wasn't
automatic,
bad.
and precision,
Right.
all in the same sentence.
Right. The one I tested actually ran pretty good. It was not bad.
I'm here just to start shit for no reason.
He says he needs to change his YouTube profile to D'Artagnan. That well, he'd be more recognizable.
I was trying to let him have some, anonymity.
Right. Doc Holidays. Does Doc Holidays do online, or they just? I know they do in store.
I don't honestly know. One of my buddies is the manager down there, so if I need something, I just call him.
Right.
So,
yeah. Get the hookup.
Be like, hey,
Chris,
man, what you got?
if Midwest Gun and Porn don't give you sales commissions, they I think it's pawn, but
Phil's watching this, so
has he started carrying stuff I didn't know about?
If he changed the name to Gun and Porn, I got to ask some questions.
Right.
I want to know what
both my Theos. I really like that Theos. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing, so I know those guys, so I wanted to be like, I have had that scope for like 2 months. I shot it on the 223 and stuff. And just because I know and like Matt Dubber doesn't mean I'm going to give him a pass on something. Because there are scopes I beat him up about. The Nexus. I was just like, man, why is the Nexus your flagship? Why is a 30 mil tube scope your flagship? Doesn't make any sense. So you will never see me in a video saying, oh, like, I would use the Nexus over a track. So which is cool because he knew sending me the scope that I was going to give it the flat out honest truth. And if I didn't like it, I would have just said so. But it's cool because they're really good people. And so I kept it for 2 months just to try it to make sure like I wasn't just because it's a higher price point of glass than I usually run. I'm used to a $1,700 scope. You put $2,700 glass in front of me, of course. The first time I looked through it, I was like, man, this is amazing. You really got to live with it and shoot it and compare it to some other scopes to be like, yeah, it's worth it or not. For me, I think it's a great scope for them. Help them break out of this, kind of like air gun scope manufacturer, which they're not. And I think if you get one, you're not going to be disappointed in it.
It's funny you brought up the Nexus. That's what I run on my 22 Creed.
Right. The Nexus is a great scope. It's got really good glass. I just hate that it's 30 mil tube because for PRS, it don't compete with other scopes because it doesn't have enough adjustment. Yeah. Beer belly button picture where it's I'm out of that one.
Hey, I got that covered, man.
Oh, here's some. I didn't heard about this. Ben B. Hornady hit indicators, new ones. I have not. I know Caldwell released some.
Didn't Hornady just have an explosion at their ammunition manufacturing facility?
Yeah.
They had some issues, I think. And, man, I don't know what – there's some rumors floating around out there around domestic ammunition manufacturing. And
right.
I've seen some posts that have been shared with me. I'm curious to see where everything goes in the coming months.
Right. Yeah. And he's leaving, so I'm going to circle back to this. But 22 Lima Romeo, appreciate your brother. I met him at Nationals and genuinely a really great guy. He makes videos for you NRL 22 guys, a monthly course of fire video, and he don't do it for ad revenue. Don't do it for nothing other than the sport. And probably one of the best people in the shooting sports that I've met in recent months. And just really great guy. If you're not subscribed to him and you're in NRL 22 or you want to just have another source of good, honest information besides me, Chris, and the other guys, then definitely subscribe to that dude because he is just really a great guy.
He's a
Even
great
though he
content.
beat me at the drag race, and I still am salty about that, I will not hold that against him. That's how good a guy he is. So back to this. If I could buy one, MTR, because the Bergaras to me are hit and miss, man. Some of the actions are okay, some are terrible. They shoot well, but the CZ is like guaranteed to have a very good workable action, and sometimes that Bergara action is so stiff that, man, when you like close the bolt on a prop, you're gonna like twist your whole gun over, and it's hard to work around a factory Bergara sometimes. Now, I think the context should better be maybe, do you want a trainer or do you want just a really good rimfire? So obviously the CZ isn't a trainer, but I think it beats it in quality and performance, in my opinion.
I think I'm definitely with the MTR, but Josh, you know this already. I've got the new heavy barrel Bergara factory setup coming, and I'm anxious to see it and see what it's capable of. So.
Right. And I'm not sure so I'm just going to answer this quickly. Yeah, so there's a ton of pre-fits for 457s, the ones you already have known about, Area 419 stuff, which are the Bartline and the Lilja, and then directly from Lilja, and now Modicam Custom Rifles is making pre-fits that are going to be, can get a 1-inch Krieger, a 1.18-inch Muller Works. I think he's going to offer a 1.1-inch Muller Works. Just so there's different options. They'll be about 24, 25 inches. So think Voodoo type, straight profile, straight taper barrel. That's going to make the CZ more like a Voodoo, that kind of thing. Let's see. Beck's Caldwell's are also I've heard that they're really good. I have zero relationship with Caldwell, so I was definitely not on their list of YouTubers to send stuff to.
I think.
Good Lord, your chair just cried for help.
Well, I thought my kid keeps running in here like he wants to be on camera, and then he hauls butt the other way.
Right. He knows he'll get Judy chopped. He messes around.
He'll get Judy chopped. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Red Rooster has some of those Caldwell hit indicators.
Right.
Out there on his range.
Right.
Beaver Creek Rimfire.
I'm just blowing through some comments here and stuff. But yeah, Leather Eyes, right on. Yours is smooth, and then your buddy's super stiff. Mine, we did the lugs and everything. It's a lot better than what it was, but they're kind of hit or miss on the action feel. New to 22 long rifle game. Appreciate our content with CZ457 MTR and XRS. Bushnell Match Pro AD outside trigger. Next best budget. I mean, honestly, put a trigger in it, and then the XRS is nice, but it doesn't have a long enough forend to utilize the weights, I don't think, for me. But the barrel, obviously, if you're wanting to bump up from there, bigger, heavier profile barrel is going to help you balance it a lot more. That's for
Don't
sure.
let him talk you out of that XRS. I love the XRS.
I got nothing against it, but I mean, I'm going to zoom out. Like, look at the length of the forend of the ACC. I mean, like, on a CZ where you need balance, you got to have a longer forend. That's why I like the ACC for the 457.
With the XRS now, they've got that full length under barrel weight.
Right.
Under the barrel channel. It helps quite a bit. And then especially, I mean, with these bigger and bigger pre-fits for the CZs, I don't see it being a huge problem in the future. But no, I'm with you. I see what you're saying.
Have I played? I have done both now. So the barrel shims to me yielded fine results. So all the Liljas are barrel shim. And obviously I had my one set up for the longest time, and that thing hammered. The bolt shims, I just started messing with when the Modicam stuff came out, because that will include a bolt shim kit, and they're going to be set up to where a typical end user would add 2,000 shim to the bolt. And that's where it's giving the flexibility of tolerances at. And they work really well too. I mean, ideally, I guess, maybe you would want to shim the bolt over the barrel to get all that, as much tenon in there as you can, and to have it against a receiver. But I don't think it's a bad thing to barrel shim it either. So
either one works. They work fine.
somebody said, have you tried the Match Pro ED, Chris?
Yes, I did a video on it. I got a
Right.
review.
So I haven't even looked at a Miata. Never seen one. Maybe I'll reach out. I seem to get that question a lot lately about Miatas, but I haven't looked at the Match Pro ED because I can't afford to buy one for the channel right now. So Bushnell, is it Bushnell?
Yeah, I got really fortunate, and one of the Missouri Misfits, Deej, he loaned me his personal one. And I'll tell you, I mean, I've told a lot of guys, I just kind of fell in love with that scope. The reticle, very, very usable. And I'm not huge on the locking turrets, but they weren't bad. And everything on it felt good. The glass was good. I mean, it's at its price point. I often forget about it, but at its price point, it's going to be a hard one to beat because it comes in, I think, right there in that 800-ish territory. If I recall, some of the people in the comments could probably know better than I do. But, you know, if that's the case, then I would pick it over the Midas TAC. And the Midas TAC is one of my absolute favorite scopes, sub $1,000. So that says a lot, in my opinion.
So I think this, I suppose you mean 457s in this comment, Desert Precision worth the extra cash. I mean, at the end of the day, I say this in the video that's going to come out, hopefully the beginning of this week. Custom is always going to be better. Custom fit. Now, the gains from that, it's hard to measure. Is it going to be some difference that you notice? I don't know. Maybe not. I can tell you the pre-fits that we run in the Modicam stuff have been freaking crazy good. I have a buddy of mine, personal friend. He just got his Desert Precision Gunworks CZ457 back. Has a Muller Works barrel. And then me and the other guy, we also know that guy. We have both of the Modicams that are in the wild. All three of the guns hammer. All three of them are freaking hammers. I mean, the most accurate 3 CZ457s I've ever seen, and we got them. You know, we haven't tested them enough to really know. I think at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't hurt to go full custom. It's going to definitely eliminate some variables. But, you know, it's hard to say definitively. But the Desert Precision stuff, you know, you're getting a custom gunsmith who's going to look at your action, true it up, true a barrel to it. You know, if you want as much as you can get out of it without any question, then yeah, then maybe that money's worth it to you. It's kind of a personal thing. I think at this point, I think me and Chris have both have Desert Precision guns and both had good experiences. So the pre-fit thing is kind of new. Yeah, he's got them right there. But yeah, that's a hard one to answer without knowing specific circumstances. I think we kind of already went over this one too. The Arkin scopes are good for the money. Sub $500, I don't think you can beat them. You know, but they're sub $500.
Yeah, don't let some of the other people confuse you. They are not Night Force or Gen 3 Razor or Zico equivalent. They are not. But for under $500, you're not going to get those features on a better scope, I don't think.
Right. Actually, this question, it's funny. I reached out to these guys because I really wanted to get like even just a loaner for the channel because I think some of their stuff is really cool. Like it's different. And they just ghosted me, which happens. As a gun tuber, 90% of the companies you reach out to, they just don't respond. So maybe if you guys hit them up and say, hey, you need to get a gun on this channel because we're interested. Maybe they'll respond to that better than me saying, hey, I'm a gun tuber and I want to shoot one of your guns on camera because they pretty much just ignore us. So I can't afford to get one right now. Maybe long-term I can, but yeah, I tried to. Let's see. DBG's price for custom CZ is pretty reasonable when you consider how much building a pre-fit rifle yourself would be. Really aren't paying Kenny that much overall. Yeah, I mean, so if you get a full build from him, then you're not really getting upcharged a ton for a lot of things. You're getting the chassis from him and you're not paying a god awful amount of money more versus building it yourself. You are going to pay more because it's custom. You're going to have to pay for that labor and time involved. But oof. For your area, guys, shoot, what would be your first opinion on a Magnum Rimfire Match Series? My problem with that is that the ammunition is not as readily available as far as lot testing. So, and not saying that's a bad thing. I think that may be a cool thing to have. I would like to see it be like a once or twice a year thing at the 22 long rifle clubs where they have like a 17 HMR/22 mag, like a Magnum match, just to bust out those guns that you don't have built like this, and just bring your old Seiko quad or your CZ 17 HMR out and with your hunting scope and shoot and have a lot of fun.
I think one time he and I talked about this, even possibly reducing the round count per stage from like 10 to maybe 5 or 8 or something. I can't remember off top of my head, but I know he and I have discussed this several times. We just never seem to. We haven't got it off the ground, or he hasn't. I shouldn't say we. That's his thing.
Right.
He's the match director. I just make posts and try to talk people into coming.
Right. Yeah, most places don't allow the 2 feet stuff. Yeah. I'm guessing that that's not likely going to change. Here we go. We both of us are MRAD. You're dialing so much with 22 that MRAD's faster, easier to understand on the fly. MRAD, 100%. Ooh.
The only way I'm going MOA is in bench rest.
Right. Yeah. Bench rest, 1/8 inch, 16th inch clicks. You got to be MOA. And I'm going to cut this off in like 14 minutes so I can stay married because my wife's going to kill me. So at 10:30. So we're going to try and answer. So pump in your last minute questions. We'll try and run through them. Better than a Vortex HE Gen 3 for the money.
That depends. Are you talking Gen 3 after all the discounts and stuff you can find on the internet, or just
what's retail without the discount?
It's like $3,000, isn't it?
But you can get them for like in the 24,000-2,500s, right?
I thought there was a discount out there where they were getting them sub 2, like $1,800 or $1,900.
Good Lord.
If Tom Wyman's still on this freaking live stream,
he had to go.
he would know.
Right. For me, it's not even a scope I consider. They're just things that I don't mess around with, and having turrets go down on my optic isn't something that I would even flirt with. It's just I'm not going to go down it. But for the money, I think all the glass is probably going to be comparable in that niche of the market.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer, like, when we're talking that kind of money, we're talking $2,500 to $3,000 probably.
Right.
I'm going to shoot an ATACR.
Right. Yeah. ATACR. There's so many in there now. There's so many scopes, and they're all good. I mean, I don't think anybody in that price point is like overcharging. That's just like, man, that's a crappy scope for the money. It's they offer different feature sets, and you're gonna have brand loyalty. You can't really buy one and be disappointed at that price point, I don't think. Yeah. But speaking of disappointment,
I don't think either one of us are IBI Burrell's favorite people.
No, that's for sure. And I don't have anything against them. I know there are some good barrels out there, but both the prefits for the CZ and the Bergara prefits, I didn't have good results out of either one. So I've
got that Bergara prefit here at the house, and when I tried it, I sent it to a gunsmith. Like, even he said, there's just no making this thing shoot. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just so no more. Yeah. So we're not fans. I actually filmed a magazine review yesterday. I started editing it tonight. I'll finish editing it tonight, hopefully releasing it Friday. So that'll be all of these guys. It'll be the polymer with the Anarchy extension, the L3I billet 13 rounder and the NDR shooting. So I'll just talk about it, what they fit, what they don't fit, what they work in, what they don't work in. And then you get to see me blast a 50-yard KYL at full mag capacity to see if they run.
I live in Missouri and I can't get an L3I mag.
Diamond Crap Tactical. That's all I can
I think
say
that
about
summed
that.
up the answer right there. Diamond Crap. It doesn't have a zero stop. Don't mess with it.
Right, yeah. That's funny. He knew that was coming.
Hey, he knows too.
I don't know if that's ew, like ew, or like EW is something else.
Extremely wonderful.
Right. I picked up a Zeiss S3630 from 1250. Wow. Yeah, the Zeisses are good. I mean, right. I think that they normally go for like $2,000, right?
I don't know.
The LRP S3.
I would think so.
But Magic is he's magical, amazing S3, and I can absolutely say it's not on par with the Gen 3. The Gen 3 glass is really good. Like I was surprised.
It is.
I've looked through Zico, Tangent Theta, Razor Gen 3, the Zeiss for short periods of time. Like just look through them. And all the scopes in that price range are good. Like, of course, there's, the Tangent, the Zico kind of stomp everything out. Even but the A-Tacker is really good. They're all really good. Like, and I recently had a buddy who had a bullet go through his scope lens cover, hit his A-Tacker glass, or maybe it was an NX8, a 22 bullet from very short distance. His scope lens was shot, did not break the lens, did not go through the lens. You can still see through the scope. So Night Force is, some pretty tough, rugged crap. And not crap in a bad way, but,
Well, I mean, my thing with Night Force is, you could literally use it as a hammer and then stick it back on the gun and shoot it and you'll be fine.
Right.
Now, the Night Force scopes I like are at a different price point than what is truly affordable. And that's one reason I support the guys over at Apex, and I run their scopes. Is it's a price point that people can live with a little better.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's scopes for everybody. I mean, you're going to have your preference on reticle and who likes what. I mean, right now we're in such a good time for like precision stuff because there's just.
Oh, God, everybody has something good.
Yeah, it's like scopes, magazines, chassis, like barrels, like gunsmiths. Like you can't throw a rock without hitting somebody with a product that you can't wait to spend your money on. 457 is worth changing. My standard MTR barrel, who if Up North Air Gunner is watching this, Chris still has my MTR barrel and he's still sending it back, quote unquote. It's a good barrel. I would change it out. If you have a good shooter, you're probably not going to get much better results aftermarket barrel, but you may want something that's bigger profile and longer for balance reasons. But if you're shooting 0.3s with your MTR barrel, you're probably going to spend a lot of money to be able to shoot like 0.25s. Like, so if it's worth it to you to spend $500+ to get from a 0.3 to a 0.25, then have at it. But I wouldn't expect night and day difference from my end.
Yeah, I'd spend my money on glass first before I worried about changing that barrel. It's going to do more than what
the barrels are pretty good. You could even play with bolt shims. I would say start there. Maybe if your MTR barrel is not quite where you want, maybe just try those bolt shims. There's a couple of companies who sell them, and you never know. Do 1,000 at a time, tighten up the headspace a little bit, and see if it maybe likes that. There's a bunch of things you can do short of replacing the barrel. And again, last call for non-alcoholic questions. 10:23. Shut it off at 10:30.
I feel like you're censoring some of the comments. I can't see them, so.
No, that's I don't think if I missed something, post it down there.
I think you posted something. Somebody was wanting to know about tuners or something earlier. And long story short is just get a good barrel and lot test your gun and don't worry about the damn thing.
Yeah. So bench rest guys run tuners, but they get unlimited siders, and they're usually running multiple lots, and they'll take their fastest lot and their slowest lot, and they tune their barrel to shoot the same hole with those, like 2 rounds, like fastest lot. So trying to get their barrel perfectly harmonically like balanced to where if they have some deviation in velocity, it still impacts the same point. We don't have time for that in PRS or NRL, especially when you're on the stage. And what I found is that, like, if it can change your harmonics, rimfire stuff changes day by day by day. So it's like an amplifier. So if I shot without a tuner, the gun shot 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, 0.3 as the days went on. When I put a tuner on it, and this was at Chris's place where I tested this, it shot like a 0.1, and then I waited like 4 hours, and then it shot a freaking 0.4. So I'd rather be in that 0.2 to 0.3 without the tuner than 0.1 to 0.4 with it, because if that goes to 0.4,
something else to mess with. This is something else to mess with and mess with your confidence.
They started when you and Tom Wyman joined the chat, I think.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if we missed a question, post it in there. Appreciate everybody coming. Man, we have had a bunch of people, and I'm not going to give Chris any credit for that at all. But usually we typically have around 100. We average close to 200 tonight for a live chat, which is pretty freaking good. Nice to see all you guys on here. Nice to know everybody's still very much interested in the precision rimfire.
Yeah, it's
Dirt ATV. I know Speed Effects BC, but I'm curious to see you shoot Ely BRP through your FX. What's BRP? Ely. Oh, bench rest precision.
BRP.
Maybe that's a UK bench rest precision. I mean, I shoot the match all the time through my FX chrono. Actually, I did it today. I just took my FX chrono information with no profile and built a profile off that and shot it at 150. And I don't think the BC stuff is quite there yet. I was still a 10th off, but it was very, very close.
They got me Googling Ely BRP or whatever it is. Yeah.
Buffalo Trace or Angel's Envy? I have no idea. Appreciate you, Saint.
The only one I can think of is semi-auto bench rest precision, maybe.
Right, and I've shot that. That can be okay. Bench rest precision. Want to say, it cost me too much. I don't run suppressors because they're too dirty, and it's going to change my accuracy or precision, and I just don't risk it. I just
got a rimfire suppressor recently from oh God. Who sent me that damn thing?
You wonder why people don't send you crap.
What? Oh man, sorry, I'm terrible with names. Anyway, I just got one, and it's going to be on the channel. But I've been playing with it with a handgun. But I think I'm going to stick it on my Tika and use that as a platform to test accuracy with and without, and see how it does. And
right.
It's really nice to be able to. Oh, KGM. Thank you, Rooster. KGM suppressors. That's who made mine.
Right. Real quick on this one. Thoughts 22 ELR matches shooting out to 500. I think 22 PRS NRL 22 matches in the right clubs with the right level of shooters out to 500 is fine. But 12-inch plates, that's tough. And I think that's good. I mean, it's 12 inch is going to take a lot of effort to get impacts on that. A lot of wind reading ability and a very highly tuned setup with very good lot tested ammo. So I'm all about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really missed the ELR match out at Free State Clinkers this year.
Right.
For that one.
Here's a good one. My brother jumped on. He's looking from overseas. Appreciate you, bro. Speaking of how rifle third really find much accuracy difference with suppressor and nose. Ray's the only one from X-Ring I know that has actually tested it, and he found that his were less than accurate. I think it's going to come down to two things. Harmonics, does your barrel like the suppressor being on there? And then two, if you run it and it starts to get dirty, the volume of that can changes and God forbid you tip your rifle up after shooting it, all that crap's coming down your barrel in your action. I would say it's overall probably not worth it, especially since subs are so quiet. But yeah, so I think we're at the end. I thank everybody for coming on here. Appreciate Chris for coming on YouTube. Pulled him out of retirement for this.
He drugged me kicking and screaming.
Yeah. The FX does give you just pick G1 or G7. I ran a G7 today because part of today's test was to test if G7 profiles work with 22. And I need to do a little bit more to that video before I'm ready to get it going because today wasn't really that great. But yeah, I will check out Semi-Auto Venturous Precision on the Chrono, but it does give you G1 and G7. But again, appreciate everybody. Thanks for Chris for coming out. We're still at 166, so we got a ton of you that showed up. Appreciate you all for coming, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys. Have a good one.